This bit's good. I wonder if you can work out what he thinks he's saying here, look. I can guarantee the first bit was I am Alan, I am the armchair. Hello. Oh, wait. No, surely the first thing he says is, hello, I am Alan, I am the armchair detective, isn't it? What is he? I've seen what I've just... Something about his clothes that way. Or... I thought it was something about poppies. He's got the moves going on and he's pulling the t-shirt over them. It's funny watching him in silence, isn't it? You and your bone broth, I get it. The dog's not a vegan, but I am. Like, he gets a healthy diet and he gets animal products in his diet for sure. But the concept, like, I used to do it for cooking. I would have made a bone broth that I would have made my own stock. But now the concept of brewing up a bone in the kitchen and having all that smell, maybe I could buy it from somewhere already made. Like, I just wouldn't want to do it at home. Now he's realising that he can't be heard, isn't he? He's looking at the chat and he's like, you can't hear me? Oh no. Is he realising now? Oh no, there we are, live. Okay. Because you get the first bit where he doesn't realise he's live. Hello, I am Alan, I'm the Armchair Detective, and you're watching my wonderful show. It's me. It's... He's doing his t-shirt again. And I think it's on his phone. On the phone. This is funny because maybe I should do a voice for him. I went out last night and... Hang on, wait. I haven't even got it in my brain to think up funny things to say. Where's my camera? Okay. You wouldn't believe it though. They're all bad Africans and Asians all coming in the country. And I went to the bus, right? And I went and sat down and there was this man. And he was saying to me, I couldn't believe it. He was saying to me, pop, I haven't got any thoughts to put in his mouth, but, this piece of footage has endless creative opportunities attached to it. If I was mentally agile enough tonight at 11 o'clock after having been no sleep poo-poo patrol, this would be fun. I mean, he's still going. I thought he just realised quickly. He's still going. I mean, I imagine now everything that he said here, he just said again after he started and realised he just restarted the show. But this has got to mean, right, okay, listen. This is 2 minutes in, 2 minutes 30 in. There cannot be, this must be his deadest ever video. Like, maybe there'll be a lot of detractors who will want to see it because it's funny. But in terms of, like, if you go onto a YouTube video and you click on it and for 2 minutes there's no sound, you might skip on and see when it starts and, like, work it out for yourself. But the majority of people will just say, is there something wrong with this? And then skip on to another video to check that the sound is working. And when they're on the other video and the sound is working, they'll just watch that. Like, this has got to be his worst ever performance as a video, hasn't it? Like, realising you're on mute a few seconds in is one thing, but doing the full stream... So, right then. Can you hear me? Who's talking to me? That's what he said then. Who's talking to me? No one's talking to me. What are you saying? Who's talking to me? Okay. No sound. There, he said no sound then. What's happening? No sound. He said it again there. No sound. No sound. And he keeps talking. There's no sound, right? There's no sound, but he keeps talking. This is incredible. They can't hear you, Alan. No sound. Yeah, no sound, but they can't hear you. So who are you talking to? Can you hear me now? No sound. Right, no sound's coming out. Like, my guess here is that, because we're looking at a different perspective, like we can see the corner of the room and the picture now, like, you know, this is a different perspective. So my guess is he's just using the webcam off. I don't think he's got, has he even got his own? Oh, he has got a webcam that sits on top of the computer, hasn't he? Maybe he's using the webcam off the top of the, or he's put, whatever it is, this is second unit, because he very quickly switches, and the, you know, the perspective switch as well. So he's using this other laptop to stream. Maybe he's decided to plug the microphone in. I can see from this, like, it's just off screen for you because of my frame, but there's no lights on the microphone, so maybe it's that. Whatever reason it is, he's decided something slightly different for his setup. He's decided to use the other computer, I think, and that's caused endless problems that he can't fix. So he very quickly bails on that, doesn't he, and just sets up the new computer. I mean, I say very quickly, I don't know how long it takes. Let's have a look. Because this is, the sound is not working. Who are you talking to? I don't love it when he says, "Can you hear me?" What's he saying now? He's looking in his options. Settings. He just said settings. Microsoft. Okay, I imagine what he's doing is he's in the settings on the computer trying to change something. This is where we joined in, isn't it, with his tongue out. The tongue keeps coming out. And he's doing this looking down the glasses thing as well. Look. Like, what's this? Imagine you turn on the stream and for the first 3 minutes you get this. He looks like he's got cum on top of his cap as well. Cum stains on the cap. It's a dirty, stained cap. What's going on now? That's classic. That's classic. Let's have that again. Let's have that again. I don't know how he managed to do this. What did he do to achieve this? Unplugged something and plugged it in again. He probably unplugged the webcam and plugged it back in again. So my guess is here that the reason it's not working, if he's unplugged the webcam and plugged it back in again, then the reason it's not working is because he probably thinks that the microphone is the webcam. Like, I don't know if he's like, it's the microphone that's not working, so changing the webcam won't help. Maybe you wanted to unplug the microphone and plug it back in again. But if you think that's what's leading into the computer that you just unplugged, you don't realise that it's the webcam that's plugged in and the microphone isn't, maybe. The microphone, as I say, has not got any red lights on it that I can see, so maybe that's not, you know, on. It could be that the settings are wrong. It's a simple fix anyway, though, isn't it? But yeah, the varifocals are exactly just like Shelley had earlier. But it's just an interesting look, isn't it, to decide to stare into the camera. Like, why set your camera up there if you're going to do that sort of face when you're using the computer? Maybe like think more carefully about that. But I don't believe it. Victor Meldrew is one of my favourites. And this is where he'll start getting angry now, because it's not worked. They've suggested, they're telling him on the phone or something, aren't they? Do this, do that. And he can't work it. So this is where it's like, they've tried to help and it still doesn't work. So now it's on you. And it's going to make him furious, isn't it? That's where the anger kicks in. Like, you can see it, like, you can see him literally sink. He's like, thinking, how am I going to, can I fix this? Like, at the moment, his brain is still engaged in solving the problem. And then at this point, he starts to think, I can't solve the problem. You see his eyes change, and he thinks, I can't solve the problem. And then that makes his whole, like, that's like, I can't think about that. He won't even allow himself. You see this, like real flash, right? Real flash for a second of he lives in the real world. A real flash, right? So we've got, this is where I can't fix it. And then there's a flash over to just for a second of, that's the real world. And I'm not having that. I'm not living in the real world. I can't fix it, the real world. No. So now we're like, oh, fuck, defeated. oh shit, like this is where the anxiety kicks in, because the real world is you can't fix it and things are going wrong, right? And he's like, fucking, and now here comes the anger. Unplugged it. Fucked it off.
Can you hear me now?
You can hear him on the second computer. Sorry, 8 minutes 45 was mute. And yeah, thanks for letting me know it's there. Yeah. So I thought it was something like, you know, when you said like mods, I get like worried, like, you know, something bad's happened. What? But no. Your picture's interesting as well, right? Did you? Oh, it's something, right, okay. The thing with your picture is that you said during meditation I saw this. I thought during meditation you painted the picture, and I was going to be like, you can't draw that when you're meditating, surely. Like, you want to do some more meditating and picture painting, because that's fucking insane. I thought you drew it with your eyes closed. Like, but I get what you mean now. Like, you saw like a vision of what you think may have been, like, yeah, like, you know, I'm not even going to start on that now. Big ups Anamorphous. That's quite a strange, like, you're allowed to stay, but no one's going to answer your weird question, and if you ask it again you will be deleted. There's your warning. So it's happened now, you've done it. So there you go. What's next then on my list of things to do? Really, it's to play Mafia or Genshin Impact, and I've got to do my Genshin Impact dailies as a priority, so let's open Genshin. I don't know how I feel today, really, about... Like, I knew that I was going to talk a little bit about Alan. Wait, did we finish his show? Did we finish this one? Or did I just fuck it off? I can't remember. I like to listen to the first bit and the last bit, because he might say something fun. But during this, he's not saying anything fun, so...
Course of action.
These protests. Dare they? You saw what happened there amongst a few ladies. They're 90% women. What if it was these... Well, you saw the state of them. They're all mostly young men. What would the police have to face? Death and violence? Is that where it's going to go?
Do you know the police have been dealing with riots in our country since your entire life, Alan? And, I mean, some of them have involved racial dynamics. Ooh. Some of them with minors. Not young kids, but people who did the mining. It's all sorts.
That's what I'm worried about. And that's why I'm saying to people, don't go to London this weekend unless you have to. If you got an...
The question's rude. We're rude. We say rude things. Like, we can tolerate a rude question, but it's rude but also childish. So it's just like, well, you know, there's no entertainment value in it for me. So I just said what I said.
The relative that's planning to go to the Remembrance Day. And
and slightly, like,
sure
it's kind of offensively rude to women, isn't it, to sort of like ask that question just outright. But since it's just the name in the chat, it's not that offensive. No one's like offended. But it's just a bit like, well, you know, that's not a way to introduce yourself to new people.
Someone younger goes with them. Honestly, if you know anyone that's going to this, where if it's children, I know a lot of children go with them.
If you know anyone who's being irresponsible with the care of their children, get straight on to Alan Vinnicombe. He wants to hear about it. I know there's children going there. Why is you into children all the time?
Remembrance Day and that. Make sure someone younger goes with them. Honestly, if you know anyone...
He's talking about Remembrance Day. Hang on.
What would the police have to face? Death and violence? Is that where it's going to go? That's what I'm worried about. And that's why I'm saying to people, don't go to London this weekend unless you have to. If you've got an elderly relative that's planning to go to the Remembrance Day and that, make sure someone younger goes with them.
Oh, not a child. I mean, I thought you meant make sure children go with the elderly to Remembrance Day to teach them about remembrance. But what you mean is, if you're old and you're planning to go to Remembrance Day, which Alan's talking to a maximum of like 30 people live with, you know, maybe another 100 or so, 200 will watch. And then out of them, how many of their actions are going to be planned based on what Alan thinks you should do about anything? But if you're planning to go to Remembrance Day in London and you are old, make sure you take someone younger with you to use as a shield.
Honestly, if you know anyone that's going to this, where if it's children, I know a lot of children go with their mothers to stand and remember their fathers that were killed in recent wars. I've met them myself.
Get down the war memorial. There's a load of widows with kids with no dads. They're the best ones because their dads aren't going to come and beat you up because they're dead.
Honestly, if you know anyone that's going to this, where if it's children, I know a lot of children go with their mothers to stand and remember their fathers that were killed in recent wars. I've met them myself. Families go to this of people who were killed in the Falklands, in Northern Ireland, in Afghanistan. Young families will be at this cenotaph on this Sunday, surrounded, if I'm not mistaken, by scary people.
The police? Or the soldiers? Like, do you know what, actually, when you think about it, the amount of soldiers that will be at the cenotaph, like, it would probably be the wrong place to kick off, wouldn't it? Because of all the soldiers that would very quickly jump to the defence of any desecration of the cenotaph. Like, you probably don't want to be, like, it just seems weird now, isn't it? Like, what he's suggesting and saying anyway is just nonsense. It's just a nonsense. There's not going to be a surrounding protest around the cenotaph. Like, the only time there might be now is because the right wing have egged it on in the media and been like, it's fight night, cenotaph day, be there. And like, some people might think, right, I'm going to go on the cenotaph if they're going to tell me I can't. A bit maybe, but other than that, I just think no one had any plans to go and cause a riot around Remembrance Day. But you're not going.
You're planning to go in groups. Make sure there's some younger people with you.
Alan says he's been there before, been there. What are the odds that Alan has never ever been to the cenotaph in London, full stop? What are the odds of that, do you think?
Don't take them on, whatever you do. Don't take them on.
Don't
take it.
Who's he giving advice to?
Union Jack. I hate saying that. Take a Union Jack, you'll be chased and kicked.
Why?
I'm serious.
The people that are supporting Free Palestine are also proudly British. What the fuck are you on about?
I just showed you them doing it.
No, yeah. Well, we missed a lot of his. I didn't see if there were some people with Union Jacks being punched and kicked.
Give your respect and leave. Because London is no longer ours. And unless we do something soon, it never will be again.
He's going to cry.
I'm going to go to Patreon in about half an hour.
Oh, let's get that. Let's get that.
About crime. Thank you for watching me. I have a Patreon channel. If you want to hear what I've got to say or you want to talk to me, join me on Patreon in 30 minutes and I'll be calmed down by then. Thank you.
Did he pretend to cry at the end? Or did he actually nearly cry?
If you're planning to go in groups. Make sure there's some younger people with you.
Is it because he started talking about children and he realised that he dropped a fucking clanger about children and he thought in his brain, I bet in his brain when he said, and children, and I've met them, something went off and said, Super Juffer's going to have that. Like,
don't take them on.
Yeah, but it sounded real, but it was conveniently right at the end of the broadcast when he wants you to go to Patreon. Is he all right? I don't know. We better get into Patreon and see. Oh, I'll tell you what. It's only £5, £10, £15, £30, £50 if you've got. But it's £10. I'll pay £10 to find out if Alan's upset. You know, it feels like he just did it at the end of the episode. Not all the way through. Not when he was losing his shit because it was no sound. No, but right at the end. And what did he say? It had no emotional content whatsoever to react in that way to. London will never be the same again. He's never fucking been to London. He doesn't hang around in London. He pops down once or twice for the poker. Like, he's not a Londoner. It's like my dad used to take us down to London once in a while. Like my dad used to like try and make sure we were seeing a view of the world, like different aspects of the world. So like London was on the list sometimes, and we enjoy going for a family trip to London sometimes. But I wouldn't consider myself like a Londoner. Like, I'm a tourist in London, if anything, because I don't live in the... I got mates who live in London, and, like, we talked about it. Like, London is very London, isn't it? And I'm, like, not from London. Like, I'm from Birmingham. And I just don't have a problem with it. It's fine. But Alan's got this weird chip on his shoulder that the foreign audience, the American audience, view him as Mr. London. And he should make sure he maintains that. Like, London's quite important to him. Jack the Ripper, all this stuff. Like, it's all London, isn't it, Alan? But you don't... Why don't you just fucking move to London, you prick?
Whatever you do, don't take them on. Don't take a Union Jack. I hate saying that. Take a Union Jack, you'll be chased and kicked.
Is that why you're not wearing the poppy, Alan? Is that why you're not wearing the poppy?
I just showed you them doing it. Go in plain clothes and give your respect and leave.
In plain clothes?
It's no longer ours. And unless we do something soon, it never will be again.
Unless we do something soon, it never will be again. Was the words he spoke that made him break. London is no longer ours. Is it metaphorical for his feelings about, he is now a disaster and he's off YouTube and other people have won and they've taken over the streets of YouTube? And he's there now. London is no longer his. Is that a metaphor for how he's feeling about his own life? Is that why he suddenly started to cry? Do you think he really cried? We want to fucking see the fucking the patron now, so we will watch it. But I don't think he's crying there. On that very next frame, that doesn't look like a man who's in tears. That looks like a man who's checking his own appearance in the screen above. He's looking at what he looks like on those screens. He looks at what he looks like on the screen. He's checking. Did they buy that? Do I look sad? How do I look?
I'm going to go to Patreon in about half an hour, where I'm going to talk about crime. Thank you for watching me. I have a Patreon channel. If you want to hear what I've got to say or you want to talk to me, join me on Patreon in 30 minutes and I'll be calmed down by then. Thank you.
And I'll be calmed down by then. So you have to calm down for patrons. Before we watched the Patreon, I didn't watch all of this nonsense, obviously. I really can't. But I did see he had a Seek. I just saw when I was skipping through, there's a Seek here. So I just want to see, we're going to play a little bit of hide and seek, what's going on here. Sorry, I just made a pun, hide and seek. I just thought it was... Whoa, I'm not watching people being shot, like pop, pop. That all we heard there was noises, all right? We didn't see anything, okay? I'm not putting that on YouTube. A man claiming to be the attacker shared a video on social media shortly after the incident. Oh, he's not a Sikh, sorry. It's because when I was skimming it through, it looked like he was wearing like on the skim down there, it looked like he was wearing a turban, but he's not, that's a cap. So Alan's showing videos of terrorist attacks now. Fox News, all this business. There was a little bit of him talking that I think we already watched, but unless he's doing the talking, I'm not really interested. And his talking is simply in between the videos now. It was just to line up the next video, so he's not really saying anything. So yeah, let's have a look now then. Brain now, come on Brain. Let's see what he's been saying. It'd be good if the sound didn't work here, wouldn't it? Welcome to Patreon, where Alan has now calmed down. It's just as shit as the fucking streams. It's called AD Live with you, but of course
Yo.
the word live can be read as live or live, so it looks like AD Live with you.
My faithful patrons.
Why does he do this?
He's
Why does he do this?
68. Amazing, isn't it? Never think of
Is that your achievement, that you've still got your teeth and you've had them whitened?
Or 68, was it?
You've also got a fucking filter on that makes you look younger and whitens your teeth on top.
I don't see myself as old.
Great. We don't care. I'm not paying £10 to listen to this drivel. Thankfully, he's only done 32 minutes tonight. Like, it is down the shitter with him, isn't it? It's gone down the shitter.
Until I look in the damn mirror. I don't feel any different than I did when I was 25.
So I look in the damn mirror, which is what you snort the cocaine off.
In the year 25.
And this is the problem. That's exactly the problem, Alan. You don't feel any different from when you were 25. And when you were 25, you didn't feel any different from when you were 8. Because basically, Alan, you are a child trapped in a man's body, a massive narcissist, a dysfunction played out as a personality. This is exactly the problem. You're on your computer late at night. I mean, here's Pop calling kettle black here, but you're on your computer late at night ranting, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, where's this got to? I still feel 25. In my mind, I haven't done any growing or changing for the last 50 years. My personality has not evolved. Oh, don't want to use that word today. But, I've not done any growing or changing for the last 50 years. Isn't it good?
I know there's a difference when I'm walking down the street that nobody looks at me anymore. People used to look at me. As you get older, you become like...
Listen, they were looking at you because you were known for being a weirdo. And now you live somewhere else where you're not as notorious. That's all. But I bet people do look at you, and I bet they will when they know who you are.
On the outside of the goldfish bowl, instead of in the bowl. When you become older, you outside the bowl, looking in at the...
No, that's ageism. Like, quite a lot of older people are inside the bowl, so to speak, Alan. They're on the telly. You know, they're actors, all sorts. I think that's the bowl you mean, like, in the bowl. I don't know what you mean really by in the bowl. In the bowl of life, like looking like in the beautiful people. Again, this is all fantasy. This is your fantasy world, like, in the bowl, going in the clubs, drinking with people, getting dressed up in the bowl. You can still do that. You're just old. Like, what bowl are you in? And who is looking in? And who is looking into your life, like, and watching? Oh, the superstar Alan. Like, the only bowl I can think of like that is the celebrity world. It's celebrity, so to speak. And Alan, therefore, delusional narcissist, has this fantasy idea of himself, and he does, doesn't he? Has this fantasy idea of himself as being better than everyone else, some sort of celebrity. Not only... There's a really good one on his Twitter where he sent someone a tweet saying, "Would you like to meet up on Thursday? I have a cafe on the seafront." And it just, like, it's all status, it's all bollocks, it's not who you really are. And it's this, like, I'm a professional poker player on the telly. I'm an author and a detective. You're not any of these things. You've just got some sort of weird personality complex where you think of yourself as some sort of celebrity. And so when you were younger, you probably thought of it was probably easier to convince yourself that you were living some sort of, it would be really interesting to see Alan growing up in the days of Instagram and stuff, because more and more these days people can create images, and Alan's image of himself is like the Instagram world of, the people that are living on Instagram now doing all those photographs. Alan would have probably been, going for a holiday in Tenerife and being like, I'm fucking the shit. I'm here, snazzy azzy, strolling down with my medallion. I'm on the beach, and all this business. Thinking of himself special, where there's just like, a family with 3 kids in the next hotel room just living a normal life. Like, but to Alan, it's like, I'm on the Riviera, I'm going to Monaco. Like, everything's special for Alan, and Alan's living this special life. But actually he's not. Like, that's a complete fantasy. He's just a little turd muffin from the UK.
Future generations. It's weird, isn't it?
Like, he hasn't done anything. Like, the truth is as well, he wanted to be a bit of a DJ like Jimmy Savile and Noel Edmonds and whatever. And he, the big gap in his life where we don't know what special things he's done. And then he's turned up as this restaurateur, poker player detective. But, like, he hasn't actually done anything of note. Like, he sat in his fucking bed sitting fucking Experth, like, shriveled up like a little walnut. Like, it just, the contrast in his description of his life. I used to be in the bowl, I used to be, you know, the people who were watching me, and the reality of Alan's been a twat all his life, and no one, if people are watching, it's because they think he's a twat. Like, it's incredible delusion.
How, like, when you get old, you see a baby and it makes you smile because
you want to have sex with it.
Of life, right?
Because you want to have sex with it. Alan, sorry?
At the future generations. It's weird, isn't it? How, like, when you get old, you see a baby
and you want to have sex with it.
And it makes you smile because that's the beginning of life, right?
Right. There's another part that's the beginning of the life, you know. That's the bit that makes you smile, isn't it? When you're actually beginning it. I'm going to begin some life in your tummy in a minute. Way. Now bend over that and don't tell anyone. Right, Alan?
And that's the stage I'm at life now.
Well, you just
I
like
smile
watching
at the babies.
You like watching the videos of the babies. Got it, yeah. You smile at the babies. I mean, what's going on?
Baby coming into the world.
What? No. No. Another baby going into the world. You're watching videos of babies being born to get some thrills from seeing a woman's vagina split open to the tune of a baby's shoulders and head. Is that what you're telling me? I have personally never seen, I know they're out there, right? And I know there are sometimes moments where people have been like, you know, this is a video of a woman's birth and whatever. I've personally never seen an actual baby coming out of a fannis because when I've like been given the opportunity, I've thought, well, I know it's a natural process and everything, but that's somebody's actual fannis and their actual baby coming out of it. So it's not really my video to watch. But for Alan, I think he's been searching for them on the internet.
You see a baby and it makes you smile because that's the beginning of life, right? And that's the stage I'm at life now. I smile at the babies. Another baby coming into the world.
Smile at the baby coming into the world. Ooh. Fucked up there. Accidentally said that you watched videos of babies being squeezed out of ladies' fannies.
Baby, and it makes you smile because that's the beginning of life, right? And that's the stage I'm at life now.
Oh my God. His son has had babies with his wife, with his son's wife, who is not Alan's blood relation. Is Alan watching the videos of his son's wife's fannis being bust open by the babies? Is that what Alan's enjoying in his free time while he's fucking high as fuck on cocaine?
I smile at the babies. Another baby coming into the world.
Just let's leave that. Let's leave that. Whatever the truth is about that, let's fucking leave that.
But it's like that end of the scale, not the other end of the conveyor belt. And it is a conveyor belt. Life is a conveyor belt.
Is it?
It carries you out. Carries you out in the end. Got to laugh. I hope you can see me. Anybody can see me yet and hear me? The thing with Rumble, right? It's like a time lag. So there's a delay.
How many times are we gonna go through this? Like, you know it, I know it, they know it. Is this because no one turned up and he's talking to no one?
So I sit here talking to myself for a minute before any of you can see me. So I always ask the question, can you hear me? Can you see me?
Have you turned up?
And until someone says yes, like Amanda Holland just did, and Riff Raff, I don't know that I'm live. Now I know I'm live.
That's ridiculous. You can see that you are live. It's just inconceivable that you would have to rely on chat to confirm that you are live. I've had enough of him.
In God's waiting room.
God's waiting room. Oh, here we go.
Sat here in God's waiting room. I've got a long wait.
You've got a long wait, have you? I don't know, Alan. Like, is that what you're gonna? This is your plan then? God's waiting room. You're just gonna fucking sit around in that room. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, God's waiting room is what they call an old people's home, isn't it? Like, it's like a joke about old people's homes that he's ripped off from somewhere else. Like, what's going on? Is he high? Please, somebody in chat explain to me why at the end of his last broadcast he seemed like he was about to cry. I think it was fake, but it seemed like he was about to cry. And he said he's going to be back in half an hour. He just needs to calm down. He's sitting in the same chair in the same room half an hour later. What's happened in that half an hour that's made him cheer the fuck up, but also be so morose about his own existence? Like, what is going on? Has he been drinking? Has he been doing some drugs? Has he been having a wank? Has he been out downstairs talking to Steve? Like, it feels weird to me that he decides to do the. I would expect at the end of a stream he might want to get up, stretch his legs, have a wee or whatever. But then what are you doing for half an hour? Like, you've got to do your Patreon stream. You're sitting around because you've got to do your Patreon stream. You're not going to suddenly start watching a film or, doing your dinner. You've got to watch you're going to, in half an hour. So you've got up, you've stretched your legs, you've gone to the toilet, you've got a cup of coffee. That's taken you 5 to 10 minutes. Now you've got 20 minutes to kill. What does he do?
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Yeah. I have to explain a few things. You have to remember that all my life is recorded. Every word I say is recorded by these people.
No. You put yourself on the internet. I'm not in your house recording what you say. You are insane.
You idolise me from afar, but they don't idolise me. They hate me from afar, right? So they get... they're better than you. You people get a notification that I'm going live. They wait for a notification. They're waiting for an AD going live in half an hour. Your life doesn't revolve around getting the notification. Sometimes you miss it, and sometimes you get it, and sometimes you're here, and sometimes they're here all the time. One of them's a patron, and they give the link to all the other people, and they watch me for free. And they're hypocrites, aren't they? I'm a con man and a crook. Well, you're a con man and a crook.
This is for us.
Stealing my content.
This is for us. This is for us. This is beautiful. Behind a paywall, in the Patreon. So, but directly for us, me, you, the audience here. Like, I'm surprised at the 4D chess moves of Alan Vinnicombe. This is.
Here, sometimes they're here all the time. One of them's a patron, and they give the link to all the other people, and they watch me for free. And they're hypocrites, aren't they? I'm a con man and a crook.
Or it might be for Lizzie.
A con man and a crook.
Or it might be for, like, Martin Dean.
And giving it to other people to watch.
Right. I'm assuming this is towards me, but I'm probably more of a beneficiary than the, like, the. So, and do you know what? I don't ask questions, but, like, maybe this is for Bin Bin or Genetic Toad, or he doesn't know, does he? So he's just said that, whoever you are, you're a bad chuffer. So it's for us in general, maybe. But again, welcome to Patreon. Thank you very much for paying £10. My name's Alan Vinnicombe. Of course, you know that by now because you're a patron. So let's get into today's episode where I've prepared £10 worth a month of value in today's episode for you, the paying audience. You've listened to me talk shit now for an hour and a half about immigrants, so now it's time to get on and do the good work of whatever the fuck this is. No. Listen, you chuffers. I know you're watching me. I'm an old man. First he was all buoyant about being an old man, and then someone said hi, and now he's like, right, you fuckers. And the people that have said hi are not us fuckers. Big ups, Trish. We're just having a laugh. This is Alan's patron. He's eggy. I'll restart it, actually, if you because I think it's funny, and I let it roll. Like, he's eggy, but he's also happy, but he's also old. It's all happening for Alan. He's had half an hour off his racist rant, because he did a big old racist rant. He watched a load of racist videos and then basically said that London was forfeit to the Arabs. And now he's live on Rumble, but, well, sorry, not live now, but he was live on his Patreon.
Yo.
Yo.
My faithful patrons.
After a half-hour break, he's cheered right the fuck up. And he's doing this again.
Still got my own teeth. 68.
Filter working.
Amazing, isn't it? You never think I was 68, would you?
I don't know, show me your tummies.
I don't see myself as old.
Show me your torso.
So I look in the damn mirror.
Let's do the torso.
I don't feel any different than I did when I was 25. In the year 25, and I'm feeling different.
Let's do the torso.
I know there's a difference when I'm walking down the street that nobody looks at me anymore. People used to look at me. As you get older, you become like on the outside of the goldfish bowl instead of in the bowl. When you become older, you...
How old is Donald Trump?
Outside the bowl.
How old's Joe Biden?
Looking in at the future generations.
Future generation.
How, like, when you get old, you see a baby and it makes you smile because that's the beginning of life, right? And that's the stage I'm at life now. I smile at the babies. I'm the baby coming into the world. Because my time is not ending, but it's like that end of the scale, not the other end of the conveyor belt. And it is a conveyor belt. Life is a conveyor belt. It carries you out. Carries you out in the end. Got to laugh. I hope you can see me. Anybody can see me yet and hear me? The thing with Rumble, right? It's like a time lag. So there's a delay. So I sit here talking to myself for a minute before any of you can see me. So I always ask the question: can you hear me? Can you see me? And until someone says yes, like Amanda Holland just did, and Riff Raff, I don't know that I'm live. Now I know I'm live.
That doesn't even make sense, does it? Because the time lag would be a minute, yeah? So you ask the question, and then a minute later they answer it. Because at their end, they're watching you live. They're watching the start of the broadcast. But you just asked a question just then, like you started on about that just a minute ago. Like, did it take a full 2.5 minutes? Because this is 2.5 minutes into it. No. The time lag on Rumble is probably about 10 seconds, maybe, or 15 to 20 seconds. Like, there's a time lag here, there's a time lag on all of it. I'll talk to you. We want that time lag as short as possible so that when I say something, you answer, and it, you know, I don't have to sit here and wait for 2 minutes every time. But if it was the case that there was a minute's time lag on his streams, then every question he asked, every way along, would take a minute to get to them, and then they'd answer it. So that's not what happens. They talk to him quite fluidly sometimes, don't they? Kaka, what about this? And and like, you know, so they're not a minute behind every stream. It's that for a minute you don't realise you're live. That's what it is, I think. I think that's all it is. And then some of them don't even turn up, like he says, we're here promptly. Us detractors, we're here promptly. But these chuffers are not turning up in droves.
In God's waiting room.
Oh, that plant. I noticed the other day, I was looking at one of the other videos when the plant was in the hat. That's not actually a living plant. That is actually pieces of what look like bamboo. They're plastic and they're stuck into a piece of styrofoam. That's what that is.
Sat here in God's waiting room. I've got a long wait. Hello, everyone. I have to explain a few things. You have to remember that
Also, let me draw to your attention the fact that Alan used suicide as a weapon last week. And he said, I'm sat here in God's waiting room, I've got a long wait. So that's not the language of someone who was feeling desperate to the point of suicidal, is it?
My life is recorded. Every word I say is recorded by these people who idolise me from afar. But they don't idolise me. They hate me from afar, right? So they get... they're better than you. You people get a notification that I'm going live. They wait for a notification. They're waiting for an AD going live in half an hour. Your life doesn't revolve around getting the notification. Sometimes you miss it, and sometimes you get it, and sometimes you're here, and sometimes they're here all the time. One of them's a patron, and they give the link to all the other people, and they watch me for free. And they're hypocrites, aren't they? I'm a con man and a crook. Well, you're a con man and a crook, but stealing my content and giving it to other people to watch.
Like Robin Hood, the famous con man and crook, who stole things and gave them to other people. Yeah. Stealing things and then giving them to other people. Taking something from behind the paywall and exposing it to the masses. Con man and a crook. So that's it then, that's settled. We say that Alan's a con man and a crook. And rather than examining how he's a con man or a crook, let's just say that you watched my Patreon without paying, so... Yeah, and you that's watching here now, you that's watching, you're the crook. Perhaps the con men and crooks are the crooks and con men we made along the way. No, Alan, you're a con man and a crook, and we're just watching your fucking Patreon, you bellend.
Whoever's doing it, I don't know. I do know.
But you don't know, but you do know. Do you know?
A few of them. So, yeah, so I'm so terrible, but you're stealing my content, yeah?
But you're not going to kick them out. You're going to keep taking the monies then, no?
I'm so terrible, but you are stealing my life.
Stealing your life? You publicised your own fucking address on your Patreon. Was that a mistake or was that deliberate? Have you decided to move out and you thought, well, the last thing I do before I move out, I'll publicise the address? I don't think so. No, he did say he moved and this room does look a bit weird, but that's since he got kicked off of YouTube, wasn't it? He just binned off the green screen. I'm saying he's still in the address and he doesn't know who's doing this.
Aren't you? Yeah, there's a time delay. Yeah, so obviously the situation is now that I no longer work for YouTube, as you know.
Alan, you never worked for YouTube. Oh, I took a bus once. I didn't work for London Metropolis Bus Company. I went on the aeroplane. I didn't work for fucking British Airways, did I? I've took a shit. It doesn't mean I'm Armitage Shanks.
So I now have to get alternative income. So that's what I'm trying to do at the moment. I'm trying to sell
drug sales at Vinny's bar.
Alternative ways to make money.
Alternative. Oh, this is going to be poetry. Please do. Please do, Alan. Please, please, please do. There's two things I'm pleading. He's already suggested one of them, and I don't know why he's not doing it, which is Alan's fun time hour. Like, instead of doing all this bollocks about all this bollocks, just do what makes you happy, man. And he tried with the ASMR, but we all ripped him. But come on, Alan. You know, do Alan's fun time hour. Your subs would like it, even if we take the piss. We take the piss out of everything, don't we? So where's Alan's fun time hour? Where's the costumes? Where's the, you know... Where's the having a pop back dress? Why don't you dress up as Super Chuffer one of these days? Hey? That'd show him, wouldn't it? Like, come on. He's refusing to play the game even at this late stage is still a mistake, right? And then the other one, you know, the second one is, please, Alan, please go through a variety of different money-making ideas, one by one, giving them each about 2 or 3 weeks before you fuck them off and try the next one. Please do that. It's only scams, big up Sandy. It's the same as when you did the painting and then you were going to be a jeweller. Like, we liked that. What happened to the painting? What happened to your passionate artist? Why is that suddenly dried up overnight? Is there not, like, okay, we understand the painting has dried up overnight, like, because it's acrylic, it just dries quick. That was a good one. That was a good one. But come on, Alan. Like, I would love it. Do Dragon's Den every week, a different scheme. Like, every week. No, this would be brilliant as well, because every week Nancy and whoever in your chat it is, right, Melissa Marvelous, like they have to give you money for your new scheme. They're the dragons and you're the guy going in the dragon's den, and you have to convince them to give them money for your new scheme. And every week they do, and every week it becomes increasingly difficult to gain investment because they say to you, well, last week you said your company was worth $6 million and we gave you the money and you have failed, so you're back again, and this time you want more $6 million. And you're like, he's like, yeah, but this time. And like each week it becomes increasingly more difficult for them to countenance your bollocks. Like it's just money making ideas. I'd love to hear it. I mean, at this stage of the game, Alan, I think you've probably been through a few, so it might be falling back on the old grifts. But do you think at this point in your life you should be coming up with new and novel ways to, like, is this really? I mean, I suppose if that's what you're at. If I were you, Alan, I would probably. You could probably. I know the horrible things you do behind the scenes that are bad, but you know, in reality, your best bet, Alan, is to. I think they clocked it in chat as well, actually. OnlyFans, probably. I mean, you've already got the dick pics on your phone that you've sent to people, haven't you? Only hams? Let's go. Wouldn't that be good? Or I suppose you could go sucking people off under the bridge. Behind the bar. You could take people down to the beach, suck them off and then murder them on the beach, couldn't you, Alan? Could do that. I'm not going to make it. Well, if you look into deaths in Weston-super-Mare over the weekend.
There is other ways to make money, so I'm trying to work them out. And also, it isn't going to be like AD's going to be on Rumble every night. It's not like no longer COVID, where it was imperative that I was on every night for you, my community.
Was it? They couldn't have a night off?
Christmas, birthdays, didn't matter. I was there every night for you. For
oh my God.
7 days a week.
I mean, obviously you couldn't mix with your family because of COVID, but you could have still have driven down and waved and like, I mean, maybe you did and then you still got back for your show, but you just didn't fucking Christmas, birthdays, none of it. Oh, grift, I'm making this fucking bag, baby. This is fucking super chats. Christmas, super chats. Birthdays, super chats. Christening, super chats. Someone died, super chats. Ex-wife's crying, super chats, super chats. Important moments in my children's lives, super chats. Super chats, Alan.
More or less. Because you needed a meeting place. It wasn't so much what I was saying, it was a safe place where you could all congregate on YouTube.
They had Facebook. There were this is the other thing, there were a million other people doing streams. Like, it's not like you were required. This is the thing that not like gets in my noggin about this. Like, imagine Alan didn't do any of his streams and never went on the internet. Those people that watched him, oh no, what would happen to them? They'd have watched somebody else and been in their streams and been in their community. End of story. Like, Alan was just one of many choices to be made on the content offering. He's not like Alan, when YouTube, in COVID, everyone went and got locked indoors and we couldn't watch the telly. And we couldn't, I remember it was bad, we couldn't watch the telly, they weren't even putting the telly on. We couldn't really talk to each other, even though we were all in the house with each other. Really didn't want to play board games. And then it got like a couple of weeks, couple of months went by and things were really getting desperate. You know, I was about to sleep in the shed one night, and then I went out, I went on my phone, on YouTube, I opened up YouTube and there was one man. YouTube had obviously shut down all the other streams because it was COVID. Nobody else was streaming. And then there was this one man, like a light in the darkness. He fought against the tide. He said, I'm not having this. I will be there for you. And that one man was Alan Vinnicombe. And I sent him a super chat. Like, what's going on?
We had thousands of people there. And I think we provided a good service. And I've had a lot of emails telling me that it wasn't for you, AD. I don't know how I would have got through COVID. I don't mean military.
But that's, well, Alan, but that's because you gaslight people into believing that you are in some way important to them psychologically. So some of these vulnerable people who are having difficulties if you're having difficulties, Alan and his bollocks might manipulate you into thinking that, like, you know, it's important that you're there for Alan. But like, I don't think you made an effort to try and help these people. It was only incidental. and like you can't claim anything from it. Like I said, because let's say you weren't, do you think that person would have just not watched YouTube then? Like, and that's not to say I don't like feel the love in our community and all that, but like, you know, I just don't believe it when Alan's saying it. For a start, like I don't believe, like he references it with all the super chats and all the, you know, I don't think that Alan was there to keep people mentally healthy. I think he was there to make himself money. I don't think he really cared about the people who were struggling.
Would all congregate on YouTube, and we had thousands of people there. And I think we provided a good service. And I've had a lot of emails telling me that if it wasn't for you, AD, I don't know how I would have got through COVID. I don't want to be melodramatic on all that, but it's true. It was a great help and a sense of community that we built, right?
And when you say we, as I will repeatedly say, our community, it's you, the community, that are doing that. You are the community. You are doing that. We built it. Alan, for once, gives someone else some credit because he's trying to grift them for money. But the community, of course, like Alan was the one that turned up on the show and got told, you know, given the information. I think those other people did a lot of work in your community, didn't they, Alan? And they're all gone now.
Unfortunately, something like the Watts case came along, and it's the most toxic case in history of toxic cases.
You didn't have to do it.
Because for the first time in history, the parents of the murdered people became YouTubers. It's never happened before.
Hasn't
or
it?
After.
I don't know if that. Oh, he's making up statistics and facts here. The parents of murdered people may have been on YouTube before. Okay? The parents of murdered people may well have been on YouTube before. The rates of murder and homicide in America, I would warrant that many people who'd been whose children have been victims of murders would have been on YouTube at some point.
The parents of the murdered families became YouTubers and set up a whole defense force and force build around themselves to eliminate any. They wanted to be eliminated.
Is this what we're doing
Some
now?
people were allowed to talk about the case, some people weren't. And it was an army, an organized.
It was like, for a minute there, it was the history of AD on YouTube and like reminiscing on the good old days. And then it was, this is why it went bad. Like, what are we doing? This is your patron. People are paying you money. Well, they're not. There's not many, and they're not turning up. But like, you could do this as like a members stream, I suppose. Well, I suppose the equivalent is, isn't it? You pay to be a member. But what you're promised on Patreon is not like, you know, membership and inner circle conversation. It's like, from Alan's perspective, what he's actually promised them is 3 times a week study groups into the Nicola Bulley case, the Chris Watts case, and another one, isn't it? 3 times, Madeleine McCann. Like 3 times a week study groups. Do you remember that? That went out the fucking window ages ago. And now he's on the internet saying, I need to think up ways that I can make money. But you've had ways of making money and you can't commit to doing them because it requires some work. So begging is what you're doing. And you're currently at begging.
Army. They hate it when I call them gang stalkers. The organised
gang stalkers, Alan, if you look into it, gang stalking is a concept that psychotic people believe is happening to them when they believe the radio is watching them and they believe that all the FBI are chasing them. That's gang stalking in the mind of the psychotic, in the mind of the psychosis. And there are some people, strangely, like that cross over into that, like people like Edward Snowden or someone could claim they are being gang stalked. But in reality, the majority of people that refer to that term are referring to psychotic people who are living in a delusional la-la land, and that's where you've picked it up from, you nutter.
Stalkers. Their WhatsApp app and their groups, they all talked about every like, what can we do to AD this week to eliminate them? And the whole object was to eliminate the armchair detective from the case. Why? Got too close to the truth. And the truth isn't.
They just wanted to get you off YouTube for telling a lot of lies about the family, didn't they? Isn't that simple? Because otherwise they'd still be on it. You've been on the case, wouldn't they?
The truth isn't what the narrative is. The truth isn't what you can read in the newspapers.
Then why on earth do you use the mainstream news as the hinge point, the cornerstone of all of your content?
Oh man. I don't know how he became a murderer of children.
Yeah, Minky.
I can see him murdering Shanann because she closed his life down. He wasn't even allowed to.
This shit now.
He wasn't allowed to choose a picture to go on the wall. He wasn't allowed to live. He wasn't allowed to do anything other than this.
Like, this is what I mean about Alan as well, right? I've said this before, like, could you imagine you sit him down at a family event and you sit him down next to, like, some fucker that, you know, some poor fucker you don't like, and you say, oh, Alan, this is so-and-so, this is Alan. Alan, tell him about the videos you did on the Chris Watts case. You remember Chris Watts, don't you, so-and-so? And so-and-so says no. And Alan goes, oh, he murdered his family. And then you just walk away. And for the rest of the night, Alan is telling so-and-so all about this and won't shut up. And like, it's like Alan came to... I think cocaine is the most likely answer for this. Again, like, Jamie agrees with me on this, I think. Like, it feels like, you know, in that half hour in between, what's he done to perk himself up and to allow him to just sort of mindlessly, like, it's like his brain is off now and his mouth is going and he's got these scripts and he's like, and when you're, I mean, I don't know why I picked on Jamie there, but like, if you're with people who are on cocaine, like, they will not stop fucking talking, and a lot of it is just like boring nonsense. And it's not like when you're on acid or like mushrooms or something, and like people have like really interesting conversations, man, and like, you know, that can be interesting or wild or weird. But with this, like with cocaine, it's just like someone's pressed the on button for the conversation, and they're not listening to other people's cues, and they're not like, they just, information is coming from brain to mouth, like unfiltered, just talking. Long talking. And like, when a group of people are doing it, maybe they moderate it more because you're in a group, but when it's a smaller number of people, you might hear somebody just doing a bit of long talking and you think to yourself, like, what the fuck? And with Alan, like, it's like, we've gone from me, I'm old, I'm here on Patreon, I was on YouTube, and then the fucking Rusiks, and now we're just away. And like, how many times has he said this? How many times has he said it's the people that pay money on Patreon? How many times do they want to hear this? Like, Kate Mick's someone who has been agita. All right, Minky, you're agita. Do you need to go out? Kate Mick's been agita, to coin a Spanish, Italian phrase that I heard on The Sopranos. And I wonder what she thinks of this. Like, honestly, you know, watching this for £10 a week, or month, sorry, for £10 a month, I just think, why and how and at what point does somebody say to him, this is done, like, you've said that, it's time to move on?
Told. You only had to do what he was told.
I'm going to see what the cat wants.
I can see after years of that how a man could flip, right? And the trigger was being bankrupt twice and meeting this girl with the triggers. And I think the last straw was... I'll be honest, I think the last straw was him not being told the truth. He was told by his wife to get his pension fund, I think it's $40,000, to pay off the outstanding mortgage. And I believe that money never went on that. I believe that's why he never got to open the letters. He never got to a bank account. He never knew what was going on with the finance. I think that 40,000 went to other things and not to keep the mortgage safe. I think it went to thriving. That's my opinion. I don't know. But I think that's what flipped him. I think so. I think that flipped him to make his decision to leave his wife. I don't know if he made his decision to kill his wife, but he made his decision to leave.
Oosh. Now listen. Steve of the Dead will be going fucking eggy about this if he could hear this. Right? He said to me once, Steve of the Dead, I'll big up Stover and Dolly's mom. Hope everything's all right with the puppers. Yeah, Steve of the Dead said to me once, he said, I'd like to do an Alan video. And I was like, yeah, do it. Like, he's got to recover from his back still, and he's got a big backlog of stuff to talk about before we get onto this. But he said, what I'd like to do is analyse one of his opinions on the case, actually forensic psychology. Steve does that, he's interested in criminology. So he wanted to analyse Alan's approach to doing, do an actual, right, because I do all the detracting on this other stuff, but actually analyse what he's doing on the case. And I thought that's a really good idea. And here it is in a nutshell. Alan is talking about, like, essentially forensic psychology. What he's really doing is he's trying to get in the mind of Chris Watts and accidentally maybe excusing Chris Watts' behaviour, or trying to find like rhyme or reason for it. And in Alan's mind, the problem he's got is that as every good forensic psychologist or criminologist will understand, you don't empathise with the I don't want to say criminal, I want to say perpetrator rather, because criminal, you can be criminalised for different reasons, but the perpetrator, you don't empathise with them because you are not in the same frame of mind. Like, you don't have the same thought process as they do. They are like you can understand their thought process in a way. I say understand it, like you can learn about it and stuff, but like they are the certainly the ones that do, I would say the ones that do the extreme crimes like this, they are the like the outer edges of the bell curve. They're not the norm, and we don't think the same. And like this is why forensic psychology is so interesting, is because it's about learning like how like it takes a lot to be able to learn how to think in this way and to think through their thought. Like, I mean, I don't know if I'm explaining myself quite right. What I'm trying to say is that Alan is trying to empathise with Chris Watts, and you shouldn't be able to empathise with Chris Watts because he's a fucking murderer who murdered his family. So there's nothing right going on there. There's no like, oh well, someone said this to me and that set me off, and like what any normal person would have done. And like, no, like he's like psychologically an outside case, like a fucking like psychotic narcissist or something. Like, I don't know exactly what, but I'm sure he would have been like, I'm sure they could have a bit of a look and a think, and that's psychology, criminology, forensic psychology, and Alan's got no concept of it. So instead he's like, well, if it was me and my wife was doing this, I'd fucking be cross at her as well, so that's probably why he murdered her. And it's like, I don't think so. I think what you're really doing is you're trying to find reasons why Shannon, like it's basically it's fundamentally victim shaming, because you're trying to ascribe the blame to Shannon to try and find a reason that this man might have murdered her, that is not, he is a fucking bad chuffer murderer, but is instead there's some logical thing that's happened to him, so he's just reacted in the way any normal person would, and now he's done a murder, therefore excusing him of being a bad chuffer, instead saying he's quite a normal chuffer and it's the people around him that are bad chuffers. And this is the problem, right? This is forensic psychology from the point of view of a narcissist who can empathise with the perpetrator, because the perpetrator and the narcissist are both fucking sick in the head. So he's able to think, well, and maybe this is where Alan maybe made his mark on this case in some way, is that he came up with some ideas that other people wouldn't have thought of because they are not also sick in the head. Yeah? So maybe there is something to what Alan's doing here. You know, maybe it's like in Silence of the Lambs, where Jodie Foster Starling goes to Hannibal Lecter because she needs his insight on the mind of the killer, because he is a fucking mental killer. Like, it's like that, isn't it? Like, maybe the only thing that Alan's got here that he can empathise with Chris Watts is they're both fucking sick bastards. But I would warrant, rather than that, although Alan, I wouldn't have it past him to push people in the rivers and stuff like that and have a background of weird crimes that he's got away with. I would rather warrant that Alan is not and should not be able to get into the mind of Chris Watts. Most forensic psychologists would agree that our insight into Chris Watts' mind is, rather than empathy, is through a sort of outsider observational understanding. Because if you can empathise with Chris Watts and you feel like he does and you understand, then you're in like the mind of a psychopath, and you shouldn't be. Like, and it's not normal to do what Chris did. If your wife is doing something that makes you cross, you can talk about it. You don't have to murder everyone. And like, this is so off and so off base from Alan. And I think I would, rather than me speak any further on it, I'd rather get someone like Steve to be like, this is what Alan said here about this case. What do you think about that? And like, just rip the piss out of him, because Alan's got no clue. Like, you're not. The whole point of having these specialists in these areas is it's quite a complex thing, and you're not expected to, a man off the street, a man from the pub, a man from the poker table, you're not expected to just be able to grasp all these complicated things all at once. You have to go through a process of learning about lots of different complicated things to paint a big wide picture of all sorts of complicated things. And it's just like, yeah, I think he was mad with her for this, so yeah, probably done a murder. No, it's very facile and totally, in 2023 as well, totally redundant. You probably have a better chance at just talking to someone that's watched the documentary and is sat on the bus next to you, really, with this. Like, I mean, he knows a few facts about the case because he's been looking at it for a long time, but, you know, his insight is nil. Other than the fact that him and Chris Watts have something in common, they're both sick bastards.
Along with that case came all the hate of AD, but with it came a number of people from the McCann case, as our spicy lady said.
Well, I think you're confused because what you're saying is the people from the McCann case hated you from the start because you stole their content, isn't it?
Led by this, I won't say her name, that old lady who thinks I earn a fortune. One day I'm going to show her what I earn on YouTube, on Patreon.
Please do it now. You've never ever done that, even though you've promised to.
Honestly, she wouldn't believe it.
She won't believe it now because she thinks there's probably something there and there's not as much. But back then, you probably did earn quite a lot. You told us super chat. Like, come on, mate.
If I showed you what I earn on here, she wouldn't believe it. She says I earn $12,000 or $10,000 a month. I don't get even 15% of $10,000 a month.
I don't believe he's got a mental ability to do that sort of mathematics. 15% of $10,000 a month. So I just think that's a random, you know, we can't divide 15 and, you know, there's no point. Like,
and I would be happy to prove it in court.
You just said you were happy to prove it on the internet.
I would be happy to prove what I earn from Patreon. And it's not even 20%, nowhere near 20% of the 10.
No, it's 20%.
10,000, she says.
I'm not working this out because I want to know what the figure is for. Hang on, let me explain. Calculator. Because I can read Alan. So what was it? 10,000 was it? Yeah, divided by 100 for 1%, times by 20, 220. 2 grand. It's not anywhere near 2 grand. Is what he's trying to say. But I don't believe he's got the mental agility to quickly bounce that number. So with that, armed with that information, I can now reread what he's telling.
$10,000 on YouTube, on Patreon. Honestly, she wouldn't believe it. If I showed you what I earn on here, she wouldn't believe it. She says I earn $12,000 or $10,000 a month. I don't get even 15% of $10,000 a month. And I would be happy to prove it in court. I would be happy to prove what I earn from Patreon. And it's not even 20%, nowhere near 20% of the 10,000 she says. And I can prove it. And I've offered to bet her, I'd bet her now £50,000.
But you don't have £50,000, so how can you bet her? I think he's got money saved up, like people say, somewhere else, like, you know, stashed away in something, somewhere in something. Or at least he thinks he has. Maybe he doesn't have as much as he thinks he has, because, like, let's say you put 50 grand in a suitcase and left it upstairs for 6 years, and when you come back to it, it's only worth 43 now, isn't it, or whatever. Like, I don't know, like, but
my money from Patreon is not even 20% of the 10,000 she's saying, and I'm willing to bet £10,000 here and now if she puts the money up. I'm happy to prove it, but I'm not going to show her just for the sake of it. If I'm going to show her, I want £10,000 for it. There you go.
£10,000 to find out that you earn nothing, and then now you've got £10,000. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I just got this feeling he earns about £350 to £500 a month off Patreon. I've just got this feeling it's that. But there's a lot of tens and a lot of twos being talked about. Could it be 1,200? You know, could it be that? He earns 1,200 a month off Patreon at the moment, maybe. Maybe. It's still, that's too much. That's too much. It is. Unless there's a lot of people who have forgotten they've signed up, or a few people have signed up to a much higher tier than I give him credit for. Still quite a lot, that is. That's, you know, when you consider how many people can you have on there? Active, 35, £10 a month, 350 quid. Like, double it, 600, 700 pounds. Like, how are you getting up to 1.2? Like, I just don't really feel it.
You're lying. I earn nowhere near what you're lying about. You're crazy. You're a crazy old bat that comes in at the head of £10,000.
So this is it now, right? This Patreon is for the people who steal the patrons, and that bit about him and the case and Chris Watts. Like, what was that about? That therefore was just to piss them off, yeah, or to try and explain that he's just like a reasonable guy himself who's made a reasonable observation, and like I don't know, like why did the Chris Watts bit come in? I think it's to piss them off. I think certain people are watching, he's thinking, and they don't like it when I talk Chris Watts, so I'm going to give him some of that.
You draw that from nowhere.
It's like even though it's not a venomous, like this is a pointed attack at somebody. So the previous statements about Chris Watts wasn't a pointed attack about somebody, but it wasn't a self-referential like I'm so good, Alan. So what was it? And I'm saying what it was a pointed attack at somebody, but it was not. It was a guarded attack at somebody. Then say a guarded attack where he knew what he was doing, but he knew it would hurt people, but he did it anyway.
No facts. I bet you £10,000 I earn less than 20% of what you're saying. I bet you. Put your money where your mouth is, liar. Lying old woman. Put your money where your mouth is.
That's an interesting bet, though, to be fair. Like, however, you do now earn less because you've been kicked off YouTube. So let her make an estimate of what she thinks you earn right now, and let her stand by that, and then let you come with your money and put it on the table. And then, like, I'll help. I'll be the escrow if you want. I'm not going to run off with the money. You put the money on the table, and then we'll do the bet. And then how are we going to prove it, Alan? You're going to be showing us your bank details, not your details to sign in, but your statements. You're going to be showing us the patron. Is it just Patreon we're talking about? If it's just Patreon, you can just show us the Patreon accounts, can't you? So I suppose there is that. But will you? And will there be? We're going to have pretty serious proof for this £10,000.
We deposit it together. You lose all your money. Not you probably don't anyway. So
I'd like to see that. That'd be really fun for a stream. Lizzie puts £10,000 on the table. Alan can't put 10,000 on the table and then can't do the stream. It's a shame. Like, we'll have to reduce the number, won't we, Alan? How much money can you afford to put on the table? We'll start there.
Well, she came from the McCann case because she says no one's allowed to make money from Madeline McCann. Her best mate, who wrote a book on the McCanns, I forget her name now. She called that lady that wrote a book on the McCanns.
She didn't say that anyway, Alan. She said that we do our research for non-profit, so we don't want anyone profiting off our research. Right? And then you took the exact things they'd done and broadcast them on the internet for profit.
McCanns, and it got shut down. She's she analyses American crime. Anyway, she's an old lady as well, but she's friends with this woman. And she's got a YouTube channel, and she makes money out of the McCann case, right? My best friend, who she got to make a video about me, Pam something. Don't want to tell me a minute. She does things on the McCann to get paid, right? And then this old lady got this Pam to do a video about it and say I'm terrible making money of it. But she makes money of it. They're all hypocrites. And their big hero, who's now banned from YouTube,
Martin Dean,
who made videos on it, he sold the videos, right?
What's
and he's their hero. He's the McCann haters hero, Richard D. Hall.
Oh, Richard D. Hall.
He sold videos about the McCanns, right? But they don't say to him, "Oh, you're not allowed to make money at the McCann case." No.
Yeah, but Richard D. Hall did fucking loads of work. Like, you know that video you like so much with Peter Hyatt? He went and interviewed him and recorded it.
It's just me that's not allowed to make money. Just me, and me only.
Big me. Special Alan.
That's what draws them together. So you've got these McCann haters who demand no one makes money at the McCanns unless it's someone they like. And then you've got the Rusek supporters who have to get rid of me because I'm such a bad man.
Okay, right, listen. Someone said to me the other day in one of the comments, like, why are you obsessed with this Adam? To me, this is actually quite entertaining. I'm sat here and watching this. This is actually quite entertaining. The man's such a fucking arse. It's actually quite entertaining. And then on top of it, like, because I guess there's a personal thing in it, because he was so mean to, like, so mean, just personally mean to me on the internet when it was completely unwarranted. It's just like, it makes me smile to see him doing this. It's kind of like watching a comedian, but like, you know, in The Office, to me, honestly now, you know, in The Office or whatever, Come on, Pinky. You know, in the office with like, you know, they're acting, but they're acting like Burks, and it's funny because they're Burks. Like, this is a real life Burke. It's like I'm watching an episode of The Office, but like Ricky Gervais uncut straight into camera as David Brent the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that sort of shit now. It's just pure comedy for me. Alan's Big Brother Day 12. Alan's in the diary room. Nicole Kessinger and Chris Watts.
What about the people that say Shanann killed the kids?
Oh my God.
Oh, that's okay, right? As long as you don't say that.
Nose touch.
Nick, as long as you don't say that.
Why are we laughing? How is this not like, when you said that, I was like, oh my God. Like, for you, it's this.
NK was anywhere near it. You're okay, right? You can say Shanann did it. You can say Chris done it. You can't say Kessinger did it.
And like I said, the reason he's laughing there is because he's doing this because he knows it, well, he thinks it hurts people. Saying, you know, mentioning the words, like, I don't even want to say the same sentence because it's just horrible and hurtful and horrible, isn't it? But he's quite happily, like, every time he says it, he gets a kick out of even saying it because he knows it hurts people and he thinks they're watching. Like, what's that got to do with what, like, you know, a minute ago he was talking directly to Lizzie. Now he's like, you know, on about the Watts case. Like, it's like he's flitting back and forth between the two things. But it's got this. The joke of this is as well, Alan used to be on YouTube doing his show, and there were people that were living like 10 years in the past still talking about 15 years ago, and, you know, bless them, they're cross about it and it hasn't come to fruition yet with the court case. But, like, you know, like I go on about Genetic Toad who just, like, you know, hasn't caught up yet. It's like now Alan's kicked off YouTube, he's going back over the old arguments on his Rumble Patreon. And it's just like a fucking huge mistake, but massively ego-referential massage. This is like Alan's pity party plus his ego massage room. That's what it is. It's Alan's ego massage room. So I'm thinking he's had a line of cocaine. Because how else would you explain this?
You can't say Kessinger knows more than she's saying. You can't say Kessinger should be interviewed. If you do, you're tracked down. You have to believe D.A. Rourke's narrative that everyone was killed in the house that night. And because I proved they were, even he hates me, and he calls me a POS that lives in Scotland, right? Because I messed up his simple close the case. Chris killed all three of them that night in that house, says D.A. Rourke. Close it down, bang him off. No, I proved the girls were alive.
Like, if you could see the reality, like, do you know what I mean? You're watching this man through the computer screen, obviously through my computer screen, through your computer screen. But if at the end of this you could see the reality of what he looks like when he goes down in the kitchen and, you know, goes off at the shops. Like, he lives in a little place with a little room and he's got his computer and his stuff. And, like, he's not a special person. D.A. Rourke is actually living a real life. Alan is not. Like, it would be equivalent to be sat on the bus with someone. Again, I go on the bus. It would be equivalent to be sat on the bus with someone and them to turn to me and say, oh yeah, you know, obviously I'm just taking the carrots and the potatoes back from Safeway, and once I've got that sorted and put away, I'm off to Beyonce's concert because I'm her tour manager. You know what? Oh yeah, me and Beyonce, we go way back. And you'd be like, really? Now imagine Alan telling these stories about D.A. Rourke in America and I closed the case, and people seeing him in the street for who he really is. Like, just like, imagine you don't know him and you never met him, and you bump into this man with his Under Armour t-shirt and his cap, out for a walk with Winston, which he hasn't got Winston, that's his son's dog, but you know what I mean? Like, you bump into this man and he starts telling you about how he changed the Chris Watts case and D.A. Rourke, and you say to him, wow, you should write a book, you could be on Netflix. And the reality is, no. No, you're sharing your house with Steve.
Which proves Shanann couldn't have killed the girls. Irrelevant. Irrelevant that you vindicated Shanann. Irrelevant. What you've done now, you've got the girls alive out of the house. If you've got the girls alive at the house, someone else might be involved.
We've all heard this before now. So, unless you've got a new point to make.
We can't have that, can we? It's got to be Chris only in the house on that night. You finding the shadows, you saying no one died in the house,
Can we hurry up to the bit where you get up to Super Chuff? I got you kicked off YouTube.
You transporting the girls to Surrey means that other people could be at large. And that's why AD is going to be destroyed. That's why. I'll tell you that now. That's why I've got to be destroyed. Not because of Kessinger. Not because the Ruseks hate me. It's because...
So now it's because of the DA and the fact that his easy closed case is not so easy to close. So you think that DA Rourke from America has conspired against you? You see what I mean about the gang stalking thing? Right, I just want to confirm this. Like, Google gang stalkers, Google gang stalking paranoia. The activities involved are described as including electronic harassment, the use of psychotronic weapons, directed energy weapons, cyber stalking, hypnotic suggestion transmitted remotely through accessed electronic devices, and other alleged mind control techniques, gang stalking. It's a paranoia. And Alan thought that DA Rourke was giving him messages while he blinked. Now, it might be that Alan is just, making up a load of shit. People have not ever given Alan really the credit for having a serious mental condition, because he hasn't got a serious brain. So, but I'm actually, the narcissism is a serious condition. We don't like the people. We don't feel pity for them. They are bastards. But I think he actually is in a delusional. Gang stalking is actually from psychology, paranoia, and he actually thought that D.A. Rourke, and his own perception of this about, D.A. Rourke is going to shut me down, and Martin Dean's being paid by the Rusick family. Well, now Martin Dean's being paid by D.A. Rourke, and remember, I was being paid by Martin Dean and the Rusick family. Well, not paid, but told what to do or whatever. He brings up the concept of gang stalking. Is it possible that someone has talked to him and said, Alan, what you are describing is gang stalking, a paranoia. You are paranoid. Has he been to some sort of, has he had to go to some sort of clinic, or what's the word I'm looking for, counselling, and they've tried to talk him down from this gang stalking idea, or has he just got it mixed up in his mind? Because he's doing it now. He's describing, Alan, his idea about how these people are attacking him. D.A. Rourke has decided, I've got to go down. Imagine you meet Alan at the bus stop with his Under Armour t-shirt, and he tells you D.A. Rourke has got to take me down, and then you look at the next nutter, and the next nutter says, yeah, O.J. Simpson's coming for me, and then you look along the line, because I talked about Epstein Island, I'm going to be on the FBI. I'm not getting on this bus with these nutters. It's going to crash, and they're going to pretend that it was just a bus crash and we're all going to die. Alan's delusional and the victim of his own delusions here at this point. Either that, or he's talking so much shit. But I think it's part of the narcissism. And I think that maybe in some part of his brain he actually believes this. And if so, that's even worse. I'm not saying we should feel pity for him, but just, it's even worse. The drunkie bus, yeah.
I let the case out of Saratoga Trail. I let the murder case out of Saratoga Trail, and that's why everything I do has got to be destroyed. All my videos.
But if they wanted to destroy you, Alan, wouldn't the FBI just have murdered you? You're so easy to do. Imagine the FBI and the CIA and all that, and wouldn't they have just if it's so important to them and you're being gang stalked and all this, why would they have made a bunch of ladies from around the UK predominantly make videos about you on YouTube? Why would that be the preferred method of is that what they do these days? They get Val to make them videos. She's not really a hairdresser, she's MI5. Val MI5, and she's been sent undercover to the streets of YouTube to take down the Armchair Detective.
Videos have now been destroyed.
But how does she get such nice hair? Oh, sorry.
It's because that Lizzie told him I earned £20,000 a month. That fund is still up there. Torture him for doing it on purpose. And
if you skip through it,
yeah,
it makes him sound even more mad.
Fight it. Me and my team, we fight it. I'm telling him to shut up, please shut up. And they found it in the house. Not because of Kessinger. Not because the Ruseks hate me. It's because I let the case out of Saratoga Trail. I let the murder case out of Saratoga
Big up
Trail.
Armchair Detective.
That's why Everything I do has got to be destroyed.
Oh, you're poorless in hospital. Sometimes I feel like, and again, I'm going to get poo-pooed on this by some people, but some people are going to be with me maybe. And it's like the evening time where I can believe in all different things. But sometimes I wonder if there's like some sort of, like, I feel like on certain lunar events, things happen for more people at the same way. Certainly the same sort of people, maybe. Yeah, because my dog's poorless. I was poorless the other week, but you're more poorless, it seems, if you're in the hospital. So, bad poorless.
My videos have now been destroyed.
But good hospital.
All my theories have been debunked. Any theory I have that's good, they will destroy. Any theory I've got. If you see any of my old videos about...
Listen, if it's been debunked, that doesn't mean it's been destroyed by gang stalkers. It means people on the internet who were interested in the case, who wanted the truth, proved that you were talking shit. That's all.
Now, for instance, where they're debunking me, it's because they're scared.
Of what?
Any videos that they need to debunk is because they're scared.
Oh, my dog. We've been through this earlier. Because of the fireworks, it upsets his tummy somehow. And he gets this problem with his tummy, and he squits. And now he's squitted all the way to the red squits, so we don't like that. And he's doing a lot of peeing. I think he might have a UTI, but he's been to the vet today, and UTI was not, a thing on the list, but I'm going to keep an eye on that and maybe go vet tomorrow for UTI, I think. But yeah, we'll keep an eye. He'll be alright though. I think he's had it before because of the fireworks and the scares, so I'm assuming he's going to be alright and bounce back, But next year I'm going away for 5th of November, and I'm taking him with me.
They want Kessinger walking out of the house. They don't want Kessinger's reflection on the truck. They don't want me saying that nobody died in the house. They don't want me saying there's a safe house down the road where the bloody dog said that's where they were. In that.
You did that episode recently and you couldn't see where the safe house was on the video. You couldn't find it again. So I don't know why you're leaning on that.
That house, said the dog. That frightened her to death. The guy that owns the dogs that said that on the phone to Jane nearly had a heart attack when we contacted him and said that we know that was a safe house. He closed down his international web pages, and he even wrote a letter criticising me, talking BS, because he was scared.
I didn't know
discovered that the safe house down the road is really where Shanann's scent was.
BS, eh?
And he even said it on the phone. Oh, we know the smell of the sandals were in that house. We know about that, Jane. How do you know about that? I just wanted to ask him, how do you know the scent of Shanann was in that safe house?
But again, you went through all that footage recently and couldn't find that bit, so...
How do you know that? He's told Jane on the phone. And she came back and told the man's daughter, oh yeah, we know about the scent in the house. We found that earlier. And then Jane doesn't say, well, you better call the police and go and check that house out, do you?
Listen to the... I mean, I've got him sped up a little bit, but, like, the man's... Like, is he high? How are you doing this at this time of night, Alan, with this attitude? You said you would have calmed down by now. I think he's having anger problems today as well. I think he's having, like... And you know what's going to happen is he's going to lean on drink or drugs, maybe a bit of the dirty stuff behind the counter, and then he's going to, a bit of dirty porn or whatever, and then he's going to feel worse later on, and he's going to have a panic attack at night. Like, I predicted panic attacks for Alan a while ago, and if he's not having panic attacks at this juncture or exhibiting anxiety symptoms, I predict he'll be in the hospital thinking he's had a heart attack within maybe 2 weeks. If he's like this, if he's on this tip. Maybe it was because the sound wasn't on for his stream earlier and he felt like a right pranny, but things not going well. And Malta's in the past now. Reality of Angry Alan's situation is that things not going well again. Angry Alan.
With the man up the ladder. Don't worry about the man up the ladder. Don't check that house out. And I just walked by. So the whole point of sending the dogs around the area was to find a scent of Shanann's flip-flop anywhere. And they found it in the house. Yet they don't investigate.
Well, they did investigate and they wrote it off. Like
These things are why I'm not on YouTube. That's particularly that one.
That's not why you're not on YouTube.
Particularly that one.
How is that why you're not on YouTube? You did that like 4 years ago.
It's been so covered up. The DA doesn't want me saying these things. It messes up his deal.
Doesn't mess up your...
I tell everybody I know that Kessinger did a deal with him within days of the murder. Don't say that. You can't say that. Well, I am saying that, and I will always say that. Shut him down. We can't. All right then, if we can't shut him down, pick on his family. So they picked on my family. That didn't shut me down. Because I'm a tough old bastard and I won't give in. So
because you cared more about you and your own thing on the internet than your family. Like,
my family, I just told them they're liars. That didn't work. What are we going to do now? So we tried to shut him down.
this is a really
invading his lives.
like, this is a real trip down insanity lane. This is, isn't it? Like, first this was fun and we were having a jolly and a laugh, and now it started to go fucking weird and dark. And like I say, you know, you sit him down next to you and he goes on about this. Imagine you're in a like pub and you're a younger girl than him, and like, you know, you're sat there and he's doing this at you in the pub, and you're like, fuck, I don't like this man. You know what I mean?
Telling him to shut up, please shut up. Didn't work. So we invade his family and tell him you're a con man and a crook. That didn't work. So right, contact all his friends and say he's a con man and a crook and tormenting and torturing a family. That didn't work. I just told them they're all lying. They got nasty.
That didn't work. I just told them they're all lying. How convenient that people just believe that they're all lying. I mean, you believe that if you want, Alan, but I'm sure certain people would have looked into it themselves and might have their own opinions. You telling them that they're lying, like you probably told the people at poker, they're lying. But, you know, that's what you're going to say.
Right, so we'll have to discredit him. What's the best way to discredit him, Matt? I know, call him a sex offender and a P. So that DM started these ugly rumours that I was a sex offender, which I'm not, that I sold children from Bosnia.
The laughing.
What's the best way to discredit him, Matt? I know, call him a sex offender and a P.
Jupiter's Delight this is.
So that DM started these ugly rumours that I was a sex offender, which I'm not, that I sold children from Bosnia to America, which I haven't.
To London, you nearly said.
I lock girls in my pubs in Bristol. I haven't got a pub in Bristol.
So does that mean you didn't lock girls in, or does it mean you don't have a pub in Bristol?
And then...
Because you had a pub in Weston-super-Mare, which is very close to Bristol, so maybe if we say, did you lock a girl in the pub in Weston-super-Mare, he might have to go, well, yeah, but it's not Bristol.
None of those things worked, but they got me down. Got me down mentally. That didn't work. Right, we're taking him to court. Okay, so we'll raise money, and we'll get thousands of pounds, and we'll take him to court and shut him up. So they take me to court, right, and raise £50,000. That'll shut him up. No, I fight it. I fight it. Me and my team, we fight it. And we write to the court and say, this American's got no right to sue me. All I've done was talk about a case that's on Netflix like thousands of others. How can he sue me when I've never spoken to him?
Did you honestly write that in a letter to the court? Because they would have looked at it and then just thrown it straight in the bin. Because it's not the process of the court to receive letters pleading your case. You have to do that in court.
Or insulted him. Oh yeah, but you said so and so and so. Yeah, that was reaction videos. Oh, I see. Right, okay, well, we'll have to do arbitration. Are you prepared to pay this man £30,000 in cost? No. No, I'm not going to give him 30,000 cost. And that's where all that broke down. Cohen thought, oh, you give in and give us £30,000. Because that Lizzie told him I earned £20,000 a month, right? So they believed her. And when I told them and showed them my actual income, they realised they are wasting their time.
We looked at a document that we can't be sure is entirely valid, but it looked like that there was petition for the claim was 30 grand, and that's the first part of the process. Is you put in your claim, and then Alan has a chance to, you know, settle that before it gets to court, or we can go to court for it. But it looks like that's what they were demanding for the claim. And it's not based on, like, let's say Alan earned £1.2 million and had defamed Frankie Rusick. Like Frankie Rusik's claim on Alan is not based on how much money Alan's got, but rather the effect of the defamation on Frankie Rusik. So it's irrelevant how much money Alan's got. Their claim is for a certain amount that they feel is valid, and it has to be of a certain amount because the court won't take it into high court if it's not of a certain value. It would fall under small claims court if it wasn't above a certain value. So it's of a certain value, and we are going to high court apparently. Like that's, and Alan twists it and spins it, but apparently we are. I mean, I say we. I don't know. I'd like there to be a lot more public information about that, but what can I do for that?
They now know what I really owe a month.
Right, and also to say, there's a lot of people angry because they don't believe any of these narratives. What I said, what he said, any of it, and they've got their own narratives. So, I'd like to know the official truth. And at the moment, my personal feeling is that I feel like Alan is being taken to court, and that in time it will play out. But how much time and when will we decide too much time is enough? And is he just playing this himself for pity views now? And I don't even know.
Court's going to cost him another £50,000 to get nothing. You can't get blood out of stone. I don't own my house.
Thankfully, like you said, the Rusiks have some social media presence and can verify certain things from their end, because if it was only Alan's complaints that I had to hear, then I might even imagine that he'd made all that up himself just to feel that he was connected to these people. It all sounds very fantastic, doesn't it?
My car's worth less than £1,000. I don't have anything. I earned some decent money years back, and that's all gone. I earn next to nothing now. I'm not even on YouTube. I've got no YouTubers. They know that, and there's no point taking me to court. They know that now. And even if they didn't know that, then I'm going to fight it anyway. And it would cost them another £50,000 to take me to court. And I'm going to fight it anyway.
What do you mean it cost you another $50,000 to take you to court? I believe it won't cost them another. What do you mean? You're going to fight it anyway? You could appeal it, but they don't have to really do anything for that. The judge will deal with that.
With no money. Who cares? They can't win.
Well, they can win.
So they fell off. So that didn't work. Taking me to court for 2.5 years didn't work. And they're still running a fund now to collect money that no one gives to. That fund should be up for 2 months, not 2.5 years. It's a disgrace. The court, they're still trying to dredge money at the public to take me to court.
I would say 2.5 years is a long time, but the court process has begun. Like the money was raised, the process began. So then I'm at the behest of the court process. I'm not able to complain at Cohen or Frankie. It's just the time in the process, isn't it? But
for what? I'm not even on YouTube.
But you're doing it all now.
Yeah, that fund is still up there.
You just did all that now, like in your Patreon. Okay, it's paid Patreon, but you just did it all again. Do you know what I mean? I think he revels in this in a way now. I'm starting to think, because at one point he was doing this on YouTube and it was a big thing, and the court case was coming up and it was a big drama, and but now he's doing it on his own to 3 or 4 people that did or didn't turn up to Patreon to listen to this, and to Lizzie and to me and to whoever else has got access to this link and all that. But he really knows that he's not really talking to a big audience here. But for Alan, it is almost irrelevant, isn't it? Because he wants to just sit in a room, probably high. I mean, I'm sitting in a room reasonably high off smoking weed, talking to you about stuff. But you know what I mean? Alan's it's almost like this is his favourite thing. In the old folks' home, they're going to set him up with a little pretendy laptop. There's your webcam. Do your Nicole Kessinger's thing, and we'll see you in an hour. He just wants to sit and fucking be high and listen to himself talk about how important and influential and inside the goldfish bowl he is. It's just coining his own phrase. Do you know what I mean? This is a really weird, kind of sad, strange tragedy that you take away. I tell you what, you take away the accommodation, and you just add a sleeping bag and a bottle of whiskey, and then you're walking past him in the street and he's doing this, and it is in its proper context. It's a mad fantasy world of delusion and narcissism that's driving him into the ground.
Daily basis. But I don't give up. I'm still here. I'm here on Rumble now. So that didn't work. So then they get other people to do their work by telling them loads of lies about me, and these people believe me, and they make videos about me after 5 years too late.
I'm not bothered about what you did with the Rusix and that, am I? Remember? Why are you on about that? Like, I didn't know who Martin Dean was when I made my first video about you. Like, you telling me that you deliberately stole my content to make me angry because you wanted to provoke me so that they could use me as a pawn to get at you. Like, you are fucking nuts.
So I go to the police, I go to the authorities. And that's why you're not seeing so much of me now, because I am dealing with this stuff on a daily basis through the authorities.
No, there's no way on a daily basis you are dealing with the police. No. Not even if, like, unless on a daily basis you are reporting everything I say in every video to the police and ringing them up every day I've done a new video, which is insane. Like, they're not on a daily basis working with you, are they? Like, they write everything down, they go away for a while, they might come back and ask a question or do a thing. Like, do you want to prosecute? Can you prosecute? No. So, like, it's on you, Mr. Vinnicombe. Thank you for logging the call. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not dealing with them on a daily basis. You're in a delusional la-la land. Like, what you're dealing with on a daily basis is, can you work the oven to do your fucking frozen chips? Like, do frozen... I bet if you look on his phone, he's got, like, mother licks cut off daughter's face and do frozen chips go in microwave or some shit like that. And that's what you're dealing with on a daily basis. Wandering down to get your pension. Grifting the people on the thing. Getting high, drinking, watching football, going up Vinny's bar. Like, you're not dealing with anything on a daily basis other than the tragedy of your own mortality and the fact that you fucked everything up in your life and you're now in the shitsville.
My position is not to talk about it, even to you, even though you're my friends. I can't talk to you about it. I have to do what I'm doing, which is being non-controversial.
Wait, we're his friends now? I thought he was talking to Lizzie and the people that got the copy and, like, you know, Lizzie, this is for you. And then now he's talking to his friends again and he has to be non-controversial, big smile, because he knows that what he's just said there was controversial enough, all in one little neat package of 20 minutes. You went through naming the people that he doesn't like name checking them, Dion, Lizzie, this, that, and then poking at them, saying the same things that originally got him in trouble that they all don't like, bigging himself up about the delusions, and then he's like, ha, I've done it, ha, look what I've done. Like, he's just deliberately being nasty at this point, you know, like a troll. Oh my god, Alan is like a proper original troll. Not like we're a troll insofar as we're making videos and having a laugh and, you know, doing memes, trolling, you know, yeah, whatever. You know, someone sent him a pizza or, you know, 10 pizzas. Obviously, no one's sending any pizzas. But, you know, trolling, messing about. Someone threw an egg at his door or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, but here, Alan is masquerading as someone that, like, has a thing to say, but he knows that it's hurting people. You know, he's like the sort of person that puts a snide comment in, and can you really tell that they're being nasty or nice and it's just a comment, but it made someone hurtful, made them feel bad, and like he thinks they're watching and they hate it when he does this, so they're going to hate this, and he's just doing it to be controversial, to give himself a little kick, like to be sadistic late in the evening off a line of cocaine. Like, sadism this is. Making videos that you know people will watch and be angry about or it will hurt them. It's sadism. Like, maybe I'm sadistic for doing it to Alan, but, like, by the by. Oh, Matthew, I want to play that, but I didn't get to.
So if you're wondering why I'm being non-controversial, it's because I'm doing it on purpose.
You're not being non-controversial. You're being very controversial. Like, everything you've been doing on your whole channel has been extremely controversial. That's the hallmark of Alan Vinnicombe, attempting to create a controversy out of nothing.
But as soon as I know something, you'll know something. And there come a day when it's all over. Because they've tried everything. The only thing they haven't done is kill me. They haven't got me to do away with myself. They haven't got me to have such a mental breakdown that I can't speak. They haven't made my family desert me. They haven't destroyed my inner circle of you. They've done nothing to me, have they?
Nothing. You're done nothing to you. I would love it if he'd list all the things he knew that were negative based on before Super Chuffer, after Super Chuffer. I'd love it. Done nothing to you, Alan. You don't care about all those other people anyway. You only really care about yourself. And you're not on YouTube anymore making that money. Being a big chuffer on YouTube. We did that. That's been done to you. Pulled your pants down all over the internet, smacked your bum week in, week out, exposing all your lies and ridiculing you. Done nothing to you. Can't hurt you. You're fine with your little plant pot in the light and your painting and your picture of Kate Winslet and your microphone behind you. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Other than waste 5 years of their lives.
No, it's not me then. Not me.
And I feel sorry for them. And most of them now, thank God, have moved on.
Do we get, because there's still 10 minutes left, do you think we get any Super Chuffer nonsense? What do you think? I'm saying we don't. I'm saying you cowards out of it.
Meanwhile, you have supported me and kept me around, and able to communicate and still make films. I'm now on Rumble doing my best to warn the world of what I believe.
Alan, you're talking in the Patreon to the very small amount of people that also pay for the Patreon as well as watch the Rumble. Like, it's the smaller group. This is the, like you said, the inner circle. They know this. They're aware of this. Why are they paying you £10 to watch you say this?
The oncoming holy war that's around the corner. Now you might say, an oncoming holy war? Nah. What do you think people said in 1933 and that about Hitler? There was this same eerie silence before it's...
You and the people like you are the Hitlers. You're dehumanizing the immigrants. They're bombing Gaza. They want to ban people off the streets carrying the Palestinian flag now. You should be dragging them off the streets if they're carrying the Palestinian flag. You and your chuffers are the Hitlers. The Free Palestine people represent... I can't even.
And that's where we are now. An eerie silence of disbelief. We had Mosley doing marches through London with the black shirts supporting Nazis. And we let them do it because we appeased them. We have marches going through now London pretending to back Palestine, but they're not really. They're showing their force where they're taking over the West, whether it's New York.
Yeah,
France,
Trisha, this is exactly like you know, like a drunk old man in the pub who just repeats the same old drivel from years ago. Yeah, like he's doing this, like because he's on the screen and he's got the background. Like again, contextually replacing him to like putting him on the bus. Like if you had to sit next to this man on the bus saying this, I just think I would have to start walking places instead. I just think fuck this. Like I can't, like, you know, this is just bad. And I think it's all right because he gets to do it on the internet. But imagine what he's like in real life as well. Like he's even worse in real life because he's really there. You can smell him. There's no filter. Like here, at least the filter's making his neck disappear, like underneath, and smoothing out his what passes for a face made out of Billy ham off the Sainsbury's deli.
Belgium, Sweden, Canada.
No.
It's coming in a way that you're not understanding.
Like, this is another thing, right? So I thought he was doing this because on Rumble, racism, you know, Alan's small mind. But do you think it's possible that Alan's not, in his mind, a proper racist, right? Do you think it's also... I think it's possible that Alan is legitimately scared of black people and Arabs. Like, there's a possibility of that, but I suppose the laughter betrays him. Like, you know, he's just doing it for money. He's happy to write off race relations for money. It just... I think... But some part of me wonders whether he really believes it and is actually lying awake scared of black people.
And I don't want you to understand. I don't want you to understand like I do that I know it's going to happen. I don't want you to know it's going to happen. I'm trying to like softly warn you of our future isn't good. In history, we've had wars, terrible wars, forever. It's only that period where the war was so bad, with the Holocaust and the destroying of the Israelis, the Jews, was so bad
Israelis in the Holocaust.
that it actually shocked the world so much that we managed not to go into a world war.
No, you moron. Like, the wars before that were pretty fucking horrific as well, right? And people were pretty shocked about the wars and the things that went on forever, okay? What happened after the war, the Second World War, was that we got together as a club and said, look, this can't go on. Europe's destroyed. Let's start working together, I suppose, maybe. And when it comes to world powers, we've obviously got America. So thank God, praise America, because they're giving us some counterbalance to the baddies, and watch out for Russia and China. That became a political problem, didn't it? The counterbalancing of world powers is still very tenuous. I get it. However, the reason that we don't have wars, especially with Europe and stuff, is because they got together and formed the European Union, and now we're all in the same team and we work together, and we're not having any wars and any mad fascism break out, like turning us into a load of fascists. Not unless you leave the EU and separate it between your own country and become, oh, hang on. But you know what I mean? Like it's just, there was actually treaties signed and deliberate decisions made, and it wasn't because they were shocked by how bad it was. Although they were pretty, pissed off with how bad it was. It's just like, you can't say could you imagine people were so shocked, they decided no more wars, and then the wars were ended, and everyone lived happily ever after. It's like a child reading a story. He just lacks any of the understanding about anything that he's really talking about, and he lives it through this mind of a child watching a movie on the screens.
Since, was it 1944, 45? Which is 80 years. We've had 80 years.
And no,
there's always been a war. Be it Vietnam, be it whatever, there's always been a war.
I was going to say, we haven't had 80 years of no war.
But not a world war. I don't see how we can avoid a world war when the Middle East is come to us.
Well, there's a problem there then. So the Middle East versus the West, yeah? World war. Well, it's not, because you've got Russia and you've got China. So whose side are they on? They have to get involved as well for it to be a world war for a start. Otherwise, you're suggesting that the Middle East, and who in the Middle East? Who? Saudi Arabia? There's already been war in the Middle East. We bombed all Syria. Now's not the time for me to try and break this down, is it? The stupidity levels here.
Idea to take us over from within. Like I said in the Trojan horse. And our politicians are party to it. We're letting in thousands of people with no papers, no history, no names. Thousands of people.
Alan, there's 70 million people in the UK. Probably nearly 80 million now. If you could get a perception of how the percentages are, if you let in 200,000 people, there's 70 million other people. You're not going to be able to Trojan horse a country by secretly filtering in people. Especially when a lot of the people that come here end up integrating and being part of our society and more productive, constructive and positive than you. We're all friends with each other. We all know these people that you're so angry about, and we're friends with them, and they're okay. And they're not planning to fucking switch and become a double agent and murder me tomorrow. They're my neighbours. You're just an idiot.
I would never do that. If you were a proper government, you wouldn't let thousands of people on a monthly basis into your country with no ID, which is...
Big up Slinky Socks, yeah, no nights. After this, I'm going to play my computer games for a bit and then go no nights myself, I suppose, but...
You know it's not a secret army that's being set up around England, ready to strike us down. Well, it could be wrong.
Is
but
that...
I'm right in saying that out of those millions of people, some of them must be radical enough to kill us. Because they've done it before. Ariana Grande, Manchester, blew up loads of kids.
We've had homegrown terrorists. We've had Irish terrorists. People commit crimes. So now we shouldn't birth people. Listen, The Irish people, among them, some of them have wanted to do bad things to the English people. So what we should do is no more Irish people coming in. Like, is that your solution to this? Are you that dumb? Like,
bombs on the underground. Bombs, 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 bombs. You don't think that anyone of those people are ready to strike at any time? Why do you think they haven't done it lately? You're waiting for the word.
They're waiting for the word. I think he is actually nuts now. I think we have. He said they've not driven me into a mental state where I can't talk. Fine, but we've driven you into a mental, state where you are fucking off the rails nuts, or maybe you always were like that yourself. This is insanity. I
don't think that anyone of those people are ready to strike at any time. Why do you think they haven't done it lately?
I think the reason that we haven't had serious terrorist attacks taking place in our country more recently is probably down to the work of the MI5 and the armed forces and the police, maybe. And then on top of that, social projects to deal with the radicalisation of young people. Maybe a pushback as well, I would suggest, from the Muslim community themselves. They were saying, look, if people are suggesting that people are becoming radicalised through our mosques, we're going to try and, erase that that cancer from our societies from within. We're going to police our own mosques better, maybe. I don't know. Do I think that terrorists haven't attacked the UK recently, and fairly recently, because they're all waiting for a special word? Despite the fact, I think that maybe it's unfeasible to suggest. Maybe it's possible, but usually these networks of terror, like the way it works, is that they're splintered small cells and they're hard to police because there's no one terror school and everyone's in the same place. They're little fragmented, dispersed. Information gets put through funny channels, but I don't think it's the case that you could, let's say Alan was right, for example, and all these immigrants coming over on the boats have been given instruction that when you get there, live a normal life up until the point where we call the trigger point, and then on trigger day, they're all ready to go. They've got themselves armed and they're ready. And then somehow they all receive the text, maybe, or someone goes on the telly and says, "Today's the day, lads." Mainly lads, isn't it? Lads, start killing everyone. Is that, you seriously think? Or maybe they gave them all a beeper. And how many people would sign up to that and say, yeah, absolutely, I'll do that. I'm up for that. I want to go and kill everyone in the UK. And then they go, okay, we'll get you across on the boat. On you go. But a shit boat that's going to kill you along the way, obviously, because we don't want you really to get there. We would prefer it if a majority of you died on the passage. Wouldn't they be given better transport? Anyway, they get across on the boat and they arrive in the UK and they're like, had you? I told you I was going to kill everyone, but instead I'm going to assimilate into the locale and become a productive part of the community because it's nice here. So fuck you. So you've got to deal with that as well. How many committed people? So I suppose you'd want to send your most committed and there's no point in sending a load of fucking no marks on a dinghy, is there, if you're going to infiltrate a country? Even the Trojans knew that. They put their actual soldiers in. That they were young men, soldier age. Are they though? Are they all like a solid squad of young soldier men, do you think? Well trained and, because they seem to be drowning in the sea off the dinghies. You'd think the soldier men had at least have a... I just don't buy it, Alan, really, to be honest. I don't think it all falls into place for me. I think it sounds like fantasy.
You're waiting for the word.
And yeah, Ed, I don't think it's... So there are millions of Alans out there, but I think the sad thing was one Nigel Farage and one Boris Johnson, and behind the scenes there's another big Tory donor who is a financial market speculator, and he makes fucking loads of money. I've forgotten his name now off the top of my head, Quintin something or something. But there's a documentary of him talking to Boris Johnson during the Brexit phase, and there's a really telling thing where Boris is having to make this decision about whether he's going to say this or this, and Boris sort of looks at Quincy and says well, I'm going to say whatever Quincy says I should say, and makes a joke of it, but it's obvious that there's other string pullers behind this. And it doesn't matter to them about how our lives progress. It matters to them how they can make money off the situations and harness it for their own ends, isn't it? It's the elites versus the working man, confusing the working man into voting for Christmas, turkey voting for Christmas again.
So I'm just asking you to be vigilant, because something's going to happen.
And the proof is in the Christmas pudding, because it was Eton, wasn't it? Eton mess when Boris Johnson got in, and Nigel Farage herded all of his happy voters to Boris Johnson, didn't he? And then fucked off to Great Britain News to have a job where Boris Johnson's going to be with him doing a job paid for by the Conservative Party donors. So it all seems a bit...
Make the what?
I don't know why I have to keep talking about this all the time. I forget that anyway.
Significant. And that's what I'm concentrating on.
Have I ever played Risk?
I'm trying to help people understand that there's still time for our governments to put a stop to this, to immediately stop illegal immigration.
How? They campaigned to get into government based on that, and they've been at it 5 years. It's worse than Alan, this is. Alan would... I tell you what, Alan's missed his trick here. Alan should have gone to Eton and whatever, and ended up at fucking... You know, he should have ended up in the government. He would have made a brilliant politician. He's a massive shit. Wouldn't he? Like, they've been in 5 years, Alan. They promised you all that money from the Boris bus for the NHS, and instead they're sending it to France to patrol the borders. Like, how? Why? Like, we're not going into the politics anymore of this. It's just getting to be ridiculous. I keep saying it.
And
just when I was out, they pulled me back in. Now this has turned into a big long react.
Start repatriating people that are on marches saying jihad, death to this and death to that. They need to leave the country. Only then can we be...
There are laws against terrorism and all sorts of other actions like that, Alan. They need to leave the country.
Begin to bring our countries back to our indigenous population.
What, the Celts and the Saxons and the... like... Who's the indigenous... What are you talking about? Do you think that the Australians should leave and just only Aboriginals from now on? Like, what are you talking about?
Where it belongs, and have our culture back.
This is our culture.
We know...
You're part of it. You're a pimple upon it. Or you're a dried up old rat turd that's swept up away from it. I just...
Through history, that look at America, the native Indians. They never thought that they were going to get, like, marginalised in their own country, did they?
They didn't get marginalised. They got murdered. They didn't know. At one point, they traded beads, coloured beads, and like we could make them quite easily in the West, and they thought it was quite good, so they traded beads for good stuff. Got a load of beads. We gave them blankets with smallpox on. I didn't do it. I didn't. I just...
They ended up marginalised. The indigenous population of Australia didn't know anything about the world. They always thought it was going to be theirs, Australia, until we invaded.
What's your point here?
Marginalised the local population. Don't you think we are the local population that's going to be marginalised?
Jamie, in a way, I kind of agree. I do think the political system needs an overhaul. However, that's not to say that, well, if I'm going to get punched, I might as well get punched by someone with the fucking spikes on their glove. Like, we can at least make it a little easier on ourselves. Like, and we have to be responsible for that in a way as well, that if we care enough, then not only should we vote, but we should be, you know, politically engaged. And that's simply not the case in our society. So, you know, I understand that it's hard to just argue for let's vote Labour, but like, I just think like it can't be like it's. I do think it's a bit wrong to sort of say it doesn't matter who's in because they're both the same, because they're not quite the same. And once you get Labour in, then you then can push for more. You know, you can say, how come you're not being so, you know, ethically social, not socialist as in like right, red party, you know, socialism, but how come you're not being, you know, we can push for more, like, you're in, because instead of us trying to be bad people, we want to be good people. Can you do more good things? You know, we can actually push for things, and there is some political swing, and I feel like it's disingenuous of us to say, because I'm both politically disengaged but also relatively feel, you know, motivated at least. I think it's disingenuous of us all to say, because I often locally I vote Green Party, and it has made a difference in some way, because there's been like noticeable support for the Green Party, I guess. But I just think like making your voice heard in some way, and like if you've gone through the whole process, we voted the Labour Party in, we've done our best, and it's still shit, then we can start saying it doesn't matter who pulls the strings. And I know Tony Blair wasn't the perfect person, but like what's been going on with these Conservatives has been fucking egregious. Anyway.
You don't think that we're going to be slowly pushed out of our own countries like a cuckoo out of its nest? Do you see it? We'll see it on the streets of London.
You don't live in London. Are you angry about the black people in London again?
They're doing it. And they're not afraid to show us. I'm glad they're showing us, because there might be time to reverse it. I hope so. Meanwhile,
you think socio-economic trends of migration are going to be reversed by you being angry in your patron?
The armchair detective might be needed soon, like he was for COVID. And if it does come to civil war or war, then I'll be here for you, and we
hiding in your fucking room.
will form a community and try to live. That's how serious it is. We got through COVID. We can get through this, but not unless the politicians wake up.
So you're suggesting that if a civil war is amped up, we would in some way be put under lockdown again, and you realise that on Rumble, the anti-totalitarians out there, or whatever, they'd say that the lockdowns were bad and you got locked in by the government, and what were the government doing to you, locking you in? And now you're suggesting that if we pursue this case of, like the way you're presenting this argument, if we pursue it, then there will be civil war. And so I would say to you, you need to immediately stop, because you're pushing for a civil war that will include a lockdown that you're claiming is like anti-free speech. Like, I just think everything is fucking all over the place.
The population and the politicians need to wake up now before it's too late.
Don't you think that they might be aware of what's going on? Like, Suella Braverman is causing these problems by, number one, I mean, some of the, for example, Rishi Sunak projected the Israeli flag onto 10 Downing Street. I mean, that was a very strong political statement. So then people felt that they wanted to campaign, because rather than just support Israel, people felt that Palestinians didn't have a voice and were being badly treated, Free Palestine protests. So the politicians could have handled that differently, couldn't they? Like, by vilifying and criminalising the protesters, I don't think it calms them down. It's just you don't understand anything, Alan. Big ups, Ed Southeast, you're a Londoner, big ups. It's nice to hear a Londoner's voice on this. It astounds me that those who don't live in London think they know what day-to-day life is like here. Yeah, so I said earlier, I visited, but I'm not a Londoner, and I wouldn't claim to be. And I understand how it's a different sort of atmosphere. Like, Birmingham's similar, like we've got different cultures in Birmingham, but it's not London. Like, and multiculturalism is not just something that's been, like, I don't think it's, like, it's on the conversational agenda and the political agenda in some aspects because of some, like, negative social aspects of, like, crime and this and that. But really, like, people just live cheek by jowl. Like, and it's not just Londoners, it's not just people from different parts of the world come and settle in London. It's that when you're in a place like that, you'll be mixing with people from all over the world at any given time. Like, when you get on the tube, like, there could be someone from any part of the world, because you're in one of the capital cities of the Western civilization. So day-to-day life, you're going to meet a lot of different people from all over the world that have settled in London, of course, and you're also going to have people with historic ties from different parts of the world that have been in London for a long time historically, and all sorts. Like, it wouldn't be London if not for that, would it? So the spirit of what the city is, and the way it creates its own, like, pockets of subculture that become cultural, like, explosions of joy and different, it's like saying, let's have London, but I don't know about this Notting Hill Carnival. Like, who are these people taking over, doing it every year down the streets? Let's get rid of that. Chinatown, that can go. Like, what the fuck is he on about?
We're going to start, hopefully, with France.
But he would say, well, what about all those communities that used to be white communities, like, and now there's a load of black people and there's a load of Eastern Europeans and Albanians living there, and like, what about Grenfell Tower? That wasn't full of fucking British people, was it? Or something like that. Like, he would come at this from this angle, and like, I'd argue that, well, welcome to London. Like, again, like, I don't know. Like,
and please call America. America, every citizen has a right to hold a rifle.
Or like Brixton is now a predominantly black area, so like, I wonder what Alan's perception of Brixton and the difficulties socially with the police over the years, and how the police have policed those communities. I wonder what Alan's perceptions on all that is. Like, is that World War III as well?
My God. If someone wants to take over that country, you've got a whole army of civilians that are armed. Right in America.
And you go to Camden markets and you can go and just have like food from all over the world. And I know I'm taking about food, it's a bit facile, I like Jewish people because of the soup. But like Simcast said, I like Jewish people because of the soup. But I'm saying, like, it's a sort of emblematic thing, isn't it? And the way that you could go to I think food and culture kind of go together, don't they? And you can go to all different restaurants and have this joy and this celebration of different culture. And Alan would rather that they were all just pie and chips, I guess, like, because we're being taken over.
Try in France. France will put a stop to it like that. Try in England.
He didn't even click his fingers because he was doing the "give me money" symbol instead of clicking his fingers. He couldn't even click his fingers properly, or is it hypnotism?
Try in France. France will put a stop to it like that. Try in England, you'll get a good chance of doing it. Try it in Sweden, you overrun Sweden. It needs a strong nation like America, who is, let's face it, the world's policeman, to tidy up the streets of the world quick. I don't mind having American soldiers over here.
What are you talking about? Those American soldiers will be of all different creeds and colours, so to speak, won't they? Like, what are you talking about?
We have to eliminate an enemy within. I don't mind that at all.
It's these Arabs, isn't it? It's these bad Muslim Arabs terrorists, the bad Muslim Arab terrorists. That's what it is. We're being taken over. There's an enemy, and thy name is Muslim bad terrorists. It's time to get rid of them.
The tide has to turn before we all drown. And I know people don't want to hear it, and they say, "Shut up, AD, I don't want to hear this. It's too scary." I know.
Scary?
But I have to tell you what I see.
So, because we did all about the Rusiks in this episode as well, didn't we, again? So, he got booted off the internet for exposing the Rusiks, and now he's on literally a crusade against Islam. What is wrong with the man?
And I see a slow takeover by the Middle East of our country, of our society, of our everything. Might start small, but once there's more of them than us, their rules will come into play. Once they get MPs and a Prime Minister, we're done.
Don't tell him about Richie Sunak. Don't tell him about Nadeem Zahawi.
Once they get MPs and run Parliament, where do we go? Where do we go? Just leave the country. Once it comes to a party with MPs and they get a Prime Minister in, we're done. We're done. But apart from that,
we've got Nasgani, it says here, was a British Conservative Party politician, a member of Parliament for Wealdon in East Sussex since 2015. She currently serves as the Minister for State Industry in the Department for Business Trade in the Cabinet Office. Oh, she was unexpectedly sacked, though. So she's gone. Probably didn't... I was going to say that like, we have got a political party that's had an MP that's Muslim, and they are in power. Like, is Alan, even on by Alan's rhetoric, he should be very scared because the Conservatives are the party that are in power, and they have had a Muslim MP, and all this stuff is happening under their watch, and they're not making it better, they're making it worse, aren't they? So maybe they want this to happen. You know, maybe they're in on it. We've got a record number of Muslims in... There are Muslim MPs in the UK Parliament. Let's have a little look. I want to see what party they're in. Labour there, look. Labour. Careful. Lots of Labour. Oh, it's Labour he's against, isn't it? They've got some Muslims in them. Oh, Tory party, man. Oh, there we go. So, Saqib Bhatti, 34. Nusrat Ghani, who's been sacked apparently. Raymond Chisti in Gillingham and Raynham, and Chancellor of the Exchequer Sajid Javid. He was a Muslim. I think he's off now, isn't he? He's binned it off. But Sajid Javid was, of course, a Muslim from Bromsgrove. So it goes both ways, I guess. Is he? How many times do I have to ask? Is he confused?
I always have Kate Winslet. You. Well, I think it's my duty to fight this now. I'm going to fight this.
Fight this.
The Watts case. Let's face it, I can never get back on YouTube. I will never get 1,000 people.
Is he saying to the people that pay money on Patreon for the Watts case stuff, that have fought the crusade of the Watts case stuff with him, that it's time to put that into the bin because it's useless to me now, and I would rather talk about this other stuff on Rumble. Please keep giving me money. This is insane. This is like, I think he's in a death spiral. The only people you've got left, Alan, I'm saying this to help him now. I shouldn't, but I'm saying this to help him. The only people you've got left, Alan, are those very small group of people that are that committed to keep glomming onto you. And part of the reason they've done it is because they believe that you have got a personal crusade against this thing with Nicola Kessinger. Like they believe this nonsense with the DA and stuff, so they think that you are the man that they should support, and that one day maybe you will expose Nicole Kessinger and it will all become like that. They've got this, you know, and you're going to take that away from them and say, I would rather you turn against the Arabs and help me in my campaign against Muslims in Great Britain. In fact, I'm not going to provide you with the things you were supporting me on and doing. I'm going to just stop doing that. Please subscribe to my Patreon. And that's part of your Patreon offering within Patreon to say this. It's just like, I think it's a death spiral suicide move. What are you saying to them?
Well, I think it's my duty to fight this now. I'm going to fight this. The Watts case. Let's face it, I can never get back on YouTube. I will never get 1,000 people watching me again. I don't know how. Not in this platform.
You'll never get 1,000 people watching you again. Not on YouTube and not on Rumble either. Like you said, I don't understand this platform. He's never going to get that again, no. And the Watts case, well, it was just a trend that happened on YouTube that you happened to ride, wasn't it, Alan? But even now, whatever reasons and wherefores, you want to see his whole arm, don't you? Whatever, one arm's different to the other, I swear. Whatever reasons and wherefores, the the what's case is not currently, like, you look on the Google Trends and it's not. So it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter if you fucking had like I said, if Nicole Kessinger could come on your show and do an interview with you, and whilst it would be interesting to a group of people, it would not trend and make you millions and everything on the internet, because life has moved on for many, many people, and now that is a past thing. And like, unless she said something really extraordinary which got onto Netflix, like, you're at the only reason that you were able to make any money in that anyway was because it went on Netflix. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, no, Alan understands at least that there is no success in the future. Nothing is going to be forthcoming. You have to work hard for these things, and he's not prepared to. And what he's decided was, as he said at the start, just the small number of people, they're the ones I want the money off the most. They're going to give me the big money. And to them, he said, Rusick case, the what's case, we're going to have to go on about Muslims now, I think. And I think you should be behind me because I'm fighting for everyone's freedom and life. And they can't possibly, like... Do you think that how stupid are they that they would be told by Alan Vinnicombe that there's a secret army of Muslims waiting to rape them in their beds, and they would say, well, that's true then. Like, can't they verify this in other ways in their life? Like, with the conspiracy stuff and the Rusick stuff, there's not many people who give a fuck in daily life that they can talk to, is there? So it does, like, they haven't got anyone to, but with this, they've got the rest of the world to verify this with. You know, they can just go and get a sandwich from somewhere downtown and see that life is not as you explain it to them. And then they'll be like, all right, I think Alan's talking shit again. You know, this is easier for them to verify, so I would stay away from this. You're better off in a small niche where people can't go around cross-checking what you're saying. So
I don't even know how to start my comeback. I don't know.
Lovely. Let's hear that again.
The what's case... let's face it, I can never get back on YouTube. I will never get 1,000 people watching me again. And I don't know how. Not in this platform. It's not enough there. I don't even know how to start my comeback. I don't know. But as long as I'm still here, and you're still here, we have a seed to grow, don't we? We can.
I don't know how to start my comeback. And as long as you're here, we have a seed to grow. But you've just put them off. Why give you that seed money, Alan? Why give you that seed money?
We can grow again. It's just finding a way. It's finding a way. And I thank all of you that keep up your membership at Patreon. And those of you that, well, we don't get Super Chat anymore. That's gone. It's there, but we don't get Super Chat anymore. Those of you that have done PayPal, thank you. It keeps us going. And
there you go. Those of you that have done PayPal, thank you. It keeps us going. We don't do Super Chat anymore. Not we don't get Super Chat. Obviously, no one was giving you Super Chats apart from this small group of women. And you thought to yourself, why am I giving 50% to Rumble when I could be taking all of it just by give it me straight in PayPal? Give me monthly on the, what should we say, 300 a month, 400 a month? What do you reckon? What can you afford to support the Armchair Detective this week for £300 a month? Can I sign you up to the Armchair? It's that now, isn't it? So it's just them privately giving you money. So you don't need Rumble then. Why don't you just fuck off? Like, you literally at this point could just do Zoom calls to these women. Couldn't you? I mean, do you think that you've convinced them? Alan, do you think, like, this is what I've got honestly want to ask him this. Alan, do you think that you've convinced these women that your crusade is legitimate and important and that's why they're giving you money? Because I would argue that the reason they're giving you money is they pity you because you've narcissistically gaslit them, so that you could probably get more money by doing your streams on a phone from a bus shelter and trying to claim that, honestly, you could be a proper e-beggar, not just a beggar on the street in a bus shelter asking for money. You know, can you give me £1 to get on the bus? You've got £1 to get, I need to go on the, like, not that, but do that on the internet. Don't do these streams from your house anymore. Just go out on your phone and go and sit on a park bench and say, well, it's come to this. You know, I can't afford to be in my house anymore, so I can't afford the heating, so I've come to sit in the park. You know, I am at the food kitchen, eating the food kitchen. Here's me on my phone. You know, do that now, and they'll still give you the money, and you don't even have to bother doing any of this. Plus, you get free food at the food kitchen. Like, it's just, you are now just begging these women for money, and you might as well do it privately. He's realised that there's never going to be any growth on Rumble. No one's going to give me any new super chats. No one's joining the Patreon. In fact, we're down to the bare bones, and these bare bones people are the people that have been there forever, and Minister Marvellous. So it's now like, you know, it's time to leave. In poker terms, for Alan, what he should realise here, what Alan really should realise, but I love it so much. This is such a wonderful part of this tale, this psychological tale. What Alan should realise is that he's now at a short stack and it's time to leave the table. He's at that bit where a kind friend would come over and put a hand on his shoulder and say, mate, I've just got up for breakfast and you're still at the table. It's time to leave the table. Come away, let's have breakfast with me and let's get you up in your hotel room for a sleepy and we'll stop doing this now. We're going home from the casino, it's not good for you. You know, take that little bit of money you still have, and then they'd look over and realise that that little bit of money he still has, yeah, is like including his watch and his house keys, and that's already in the kitty for the, and he's lost this and he's lost that and he's signed over this, and oh my God, Alan, you haven't, have you? You haven't. You can't gamble anymore. We're leaving. You know, he needs. Now's the time to walk away from the table with that short stack, with those small amount of women who will give you money indefinitely, not even if you're on the internet or not. Because we've kind of pushed it to the limit now, where it doesn't. You're not providing them anything on the internet. They don't really care. They're just there for pity, giving you money for pity, and you've got your hooks in deep. So it really would be better to just do it on Zoom. I mean, I shouldn't be saying this because it's sad for them, those women, but at least no more people would be caught in it. Go on Zoom and just fucking get your dick out on Zoom for them and just get them to give you money. Go in the park with your dick out on Zoom. It really is at that point, Alan. Like, you're going to look in the mirror and realize, and they're going to tell him, I don't know why they're not telling him. Do you think Kaka's some mad racist? Like, why are they so, like, why aren't the people behind the scenes telling him this is a really bad move? You've gone really off the edge into sort of like far right wing racism, and it doesn't look good. Like the old anti-Osama bin Laden brigade, you know, and like it's years ago. Like, the world's changed. I think people need to tell him. And do they even, maybe they're in on it, maybe they wanted to see this happen, or maybe they're not, but it's really, I don't know what else to say. It's like a sham, isn't it? Like, it's now just a sham. It's really sad, actually.
Yeah, so.
Yes.
I won't be doing every night on Patreon. I think more, I've got to do this stuff with the authorities. You know what I'm talking about. I have to work with the authorities at the moment.
It's rubbish. You know what I'm talking about. I have to work with the authorities. That makes me wonder what other... Like he said, I've got to try and get another blag together, try and get a bit of extra money. And he's taking more time off Patreon, but he's not telling us what the new scam is to get more money, is he? Is he? So he's got to take a few days off here to work with the authorities. And we all know that the police are not going to be, you know, on a day-to-day basis having Alan Vinnicombe at the station for extensive talks. Like, that's not happening. And if he means he's going to get a lawyer and take me to court and send me a letter and all that, then bring it on. I've got more money saved up from the tippies than you've saved up from your fucking nonsense. Plus, I'll get credit cards that you can't get. Plus, I'll make a big thing of it on my channel and I'll get a fucking crowd fund. And everyone would love it because they get to see me take Alan Vinnicombe to court, or me defend myself in court against Alan Vinnicombe and win. And then that'll be great because we've got a much better case, because you said, and I quote, I've searched the internet. I've searched the internet for child porn. There is none. I've checked. Like, you know, you've said that, and you've been on Small Singing with those kids. So, okay, so like, he's got to be insane. Nancy left Rumble, Jessica. Did Nancy leave? Did she? That's insane, because he hasn't mentioned her, has he, in this broadcast? I mean, if she's real and she actually existed, she said on a comment, what sort of thing did she say though? Like, I still love you, AD, but I'm just not going to support on Rumble, thanks. Like, or I don't like what you're saying about Muslims, please fucking give me my money back. It's weird. Like, maybe she was money laundering front and she's decided to, like, not do it anymore. You'd think they do that quietly, but like an announcement that I'm leaving, especially when she's such a big donator, she couldn't get on with Rumble or something. Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Like, to give Alan all those hundreds of dollars every week, and then that's her saying, if she's real, I don't know whether to credit this with being real, you know, because Boy suddenly turned up. There's a new one, you know. But if she's real, then like, okay, I'll do if she's real first. If she's real, then it might be that she doesn't agree with what Alan's doing in some way and has seen through his bollocks and has decided to not support him, but doesn't want to say that. So has just said, I don't get on with Rumble. You know, it's like an excuse. Because I don't think it's possible that she couldn't work Rumble. Like she's been tipping him on Rumble. You just press play and watch the videos. I mean, what else was she doing? She was never doing anything else. Anyway, she's not in the conversations big, is she? Oh, you heard saying that weeks ago. Jess says, Star Ray says she was saying that weeks ago. Is it recent? Like, I mean, she might have been back since then. I'll go and also, the idea that she'd gone away and she's not real though, right? Is that Alan would want, like, Nancy was a device to get other women to tip and to sort of launder money and to show people that, you know, wealthy ladies are happy to give Alan lots of money, and, like, you know, it fits a character and a purpose on YouTube. But over here, where this is no longer the grift, it's like a useless enterprise, and the proving that he's laundering the money in that way and giving a cut to YouTube along the way. Like, maybe he's decided not to launder the money. They can't afford to give that cut to YouTube anymore, so he's going to have to launder the money in a bit more of a dangerous way, spending the cash, maybe. I looked at it before. Star says, not this week. Okay, well then, I don't know whether she's been back since, but she was there a few days ago, says Armchair Detective. Well, there you go. And she's still in the Rumble chat. I would say that she's just going to be like Nancy first and foremost. I've said it to him to do this, so I'm sure he would have done. He's going to be getting the money on PayPal straight. Like, he doesn't need Nancy to tip him anymore. Give it me straight. Like, that's probably what's happening there. And if it is money laundering, he's taking a risk by taking out one link in the chain because he's getting greedy or desperate. Maybe. You know, we don't see if Nancy gives him PayPal or not. Like, he's never showing us any of these PayPal. Like, at least Darkside Phil will say what the PayPal donation is and put it on the screen and type it in on the thing and say, thanks for the tip. It goes in the total, and, like, you know, be overt with it. Whereas we don't know how much Alan's been given by these ladies recently. You know, straight into the PayPal. And I don't know what they think it's for. Like, unless he's actually literally saying to them, under, you know, no circumstances should we make any bones about this, I'm going to be spending it on alcohol and cocaine and petrol to drive up Vinny's bar and holidays in Malta. Like, you know, what are they giving him hundreds of pounds for?
And I'll let you know as soon as that comes up. My art popped up on YouTube yesterday. Did it, Kitty Wee? Well, it wouldn't be in a nice way, would it? My art's not going to pop up in a nice way. That's the other thing. My art, that used to bring me in some money. I don't know what to do with my art. Anyway, it's nice talking to you. I get some sleep.
What was that then about?
As soon as that comes up. My art popped up on YouTube yesterday. Did it, Kitty? Yeah, so I won't be doing every night on Patreon. I think more, I've got to do this stuff with the...
It's funny, isn't it, the way his beard sounds all scratchy, but there's none on there. He looks clean shaven because of the filter.
Authorities. You know what I'm talking about. I have to work with the authorities at the moment. And I'll let you know as soon as that comes up. My art popped up on YouTube yesterday. Did it?
His art popped up on YouTube. Did it? And he doesn't question this because he's not on YouTube. So who's doing that?
Well, it wouldn't be in a nice way, would it?
Oh, he does. It wouldn't be in a nice way, would it?
My art's not going to pop up in a nice way. That's the other thing. My art, that used to bring me in some money. I don't know what to do with my art. Anyway, it's nice talking to you. I get some sleep. No.
That's put the detractors in his head rent free again, right at the end of the whole. Like, it's funny, isn't it? That I've talked for a lot tonight about this, but he's been using this as his own ego massage room. You know, it's the patron room, but it's all about Alan, isn't it? So he's been doing that, and then at the very end, someone reminds him they're on YouTube talking shit about your art, and he's like, "There's a little reality pop for you. Even your own supporters won't let you forget that you are a fucking idiot." And he doesn't like it, so he's like, fine. He's laughing, but inside he's fucking crying. It's time to turn off the stream. Let's go, bin it off. And his eyes do look red.
mode. I like to go to bed at 11, 12 o'clock. No more 3 o'clock for the Armchair Detective. Thanks for being great supporters, and especially to my spanners that have been with us so long.
He said no more 3 o'clock, so that implies that he was usually up at 3 o'clock, yeah? And he's probably still staying up to 3 o'clock. It's hard to change habits, but what about those community posts? What's fueling you to 3 o'clock in the morning?
It's fantastic. And in a way, I'm not going to be on every night anymore, which is good.
Yeah.
Because I don't want my spanners working every night on my shows. Not every night anymore. It's not worth it. There's no need for me to be on 7 nights a week. And it's just no reason to be on 7 nights a week. I'm going to be 4 nights a week.
Brilliant. This is another huge step forward, isn't it? And people say I shouldn't keep covering him, and it's late at night for me now. And I literally just said it. Why am I still talking about this shit? But brilliant. I believe that the more pressure we apply to this man, the more he recedes like a scared turtle head inside his shell. Brilliant. We could do less Alan on the show. For me, I'm thinking ching, ching, ching. I can do less Alan on the show. I'd rather he was on once a week and I could just do once weekly Alan, and that'd be fine for me. Please do that. Please reduce more. Less of this shit. Yes. Very good. He's got himself some secret gig in behind the scenes. I told him directly, go and get a job. He's not going to get a legitimate job, but do you think he's going to do a few shifts at Vinny's bar maybe? Do you think that's it? I'd be interested to see what comes up, what happens. But, it would feel to me like Alan would want an easy gig. And he wouldn't get it in legitimate means. Like, he's not applied for a job and suddenly, that's come up. So what's he doing with these other nights? What's he planning to do on his nights off? Because he's got nothing better to do than sit and grift money off these women. So what is he planning to do on his nights off? Questions, more questions with the Armchair Detective.
Until I've done my work with the authorities, and as soon as I've got the result of that, you will know.
So he's saying that he's got to take time off being on streams to work with the police. But the police aren't working all evening on your case against Scotty Hottie. And who are the authorities? Do you really mean that you're suing me and that you're going to be daily with the lawyers? Like, daily with the lawyers? Are you nuts? Court. Good point, Jess. Court. Maybe court's part of it. But again, daily, regularly, routinely, not on stream anymore. Nah, I think this is just a blag. He's saying to them, I'm busy with you. What am I going to say to the people on stream when I tell them I'm not doing anything in the days? I'm taking the time off. What are they going? They're going to say, what are you doing? Well, I'm going to say I'm working with the authorities on the case. Then that'll sound right. Right? It's a stupid thing to say, but that must be it, eh? Working with the authorities. Just conveniently, randomly on the days that he's decided that he just doesn't want to stream anymore because it's pointless. Like, he knows it's pointless and it's a waste of his time and money, and not just time and money, but also it's making it worse. So at least he's cottoned on to that, and we know that he's going to privately grift these women for as much. Like, he's got them now. Like, he's seen the bottom line is these women will give him X amount. Like, he's probably each one he said, how much can you afford per month? And they've told him, and he's negotiated, and they've settled on a figure, and now that's set up as a direct debit probably. Like, most likely, yeah? And then, now that work is done, and he's going to even get away with not doing the broadcasts. What is he doing in his free time? Working with the authorities. Like, it's an insanity, isn't it? It's like La La Land. I've said it so many times, but this is really... I don't know what to term this. I think we should split this into two as well, the patron and the earlier react, because this one's big and deep and it's psychological and it's like the delusions of a rock bottom narcissist, isn't it? Like, I thought he was at rock bottom a few times before, but and we're not there yet really, but I'll probably call it that because it's more provocative, more controversial. But this is the delusions of a rock bottom narcissist, and I think part of it is at the point where he believes it himself. Steve's always telling me, they do, like we talk about it, do the narcissists believe it themselves? Go and watch our Thus episodes. Yeah, they do. They convince themselves they have to. Like, they might not really believe it deep down, but every time they get to that deep down and see it, they have to go back to the delusion because it's what helps them. It's the framework for them to live and be psychologically, like, it's their psychological framework for existence, and you shatter it and you look into the truth too long, you know, you stare into the void for too long, and the world is just the reality. Like, they cannot handle it. So does he believe it? Deep down, no. But every time he turns to that mirror and sees it, he has to convince himself. And that process of convincing yourself of bollocks, essentially bollocks, makes you live in this world of bollocks everywhere. And like, so now you're convincing yourself psychologically of these things. Like, then all of a sudden you're trying to convince other people psychologically of all sorts of other things. Eventually you're in this mess of psychologically of convincing and belief and bollocks. And it's like it is paranoia, and like inside it's, I'd think, panic attacks and confusions and paranoias reign in Alan's world at this stage. Sad. And like I say, this is where, like, for some people, and it's sad for some people actually, because in the reality some people are in that state, not for being bad chuffers, just in that state, and they're not bad chuffers, but this is where he could fall completely off the fucking rails. Like, he could end up park bench, bottle of vodka, you know, complaining to the fucking docs about Chris Watts, going back to a shared accommodation with ironically with a load of immigrants living in lots of different rooms, and him in one of the rooms, you know, provided by the council. That could be Alan's demise, couldn't it? It's just fucking weird at this point, isn't it? Working with the authorities.
First, when I've got the result I want.
When you've got the result you want.
With the authorities, and as soon as I've got the result of that, you will know. You will know first when I've got the result I want. Thank you for watching. I won't say when I see you. I don't want you thinking I'm on every night. I'll see you in the next show.
Not even telling you when the next show is. So we can expect he's taking like, he's probably going to take a break of some description in here now, isn't he? Like, maybe he's saved a bit more of that money than we thought, and he's going somewhere else for another holiday. Is my first thought. You know, he's come back, done the hard grift, money in again, quick spend, little break somewhere. You know, maybe there's another holiday. I don't know. Or maybe he does look quite sad, and he is fucking delusional, narcissistic. Maybe less than a holiday, maybe more likely just a fucking mental breakdown. Maybe he's having one, because he said he wasn't. So maybe he's having one, and he's struggled through these shows, and now he's done the shows, he's thought, I can't do this. Like, in his mind, he's thought, like, he's halfway through the rant today, and he's thought, I can't do this. And he sort of said it. There's a little smirk, though, isn't there? Yeah. So it's hard to know. It's all bollocks, yeah, it's all bollocks. Probably all bollocks. Gambling, yes, probably. Like, narcissist in this situation, relying on the things that give them their resource, and for Alan, an addiction is one of them. So, like, all his different addictions will be coming into play, leaning on them. Like, he'll be gambling more, drinking more, you know, all these things more. Another tournament, I'm not sure. I think that would be a huge mistake. And I don't think he's got the resources. But it's plausible, you know, it's plausible. But I don't know, the smirk, I think, is belying the idea that he's smirking to say, you know, see you when I see you and it's all going to be fine. But actually it's not fine, it's shit. And I don't think he's got some super good plan, because he was saying, I need plans to make me more money. I don't think he's got some super good plan. I think it's something weird and shit, to be honest, behind the scenes. My best guess is that he's cadged around some. He's probably said, you know, can you do me some shifts in Vinny's bar? I'll do the morning, you know, the early afternoon shift, and then please pay me some money. Something like that. You alright, Mama? Come back down with your daddy. Yeah, he hasn't played his game yet, has he? He could probably get off the internet and just deal with the dog, really. Shabby Alan, that is. That's the delusional confusion of a narcissist. The whole thing today. Completely lost in his own source. You be good, my little puckos, and if you can't be good, you're naughty. That's just for the YouTube people. Cut. Right. I haven't even played my games yet. I do want to boot up Genshin Impact and just check. I really do. So that's Alan then today. Right, fucking hell, I shouldn't have reacted to that other stuff. I should have just reacted to Alan, because it's a fucking mess. It really is a mess. Like a real mess as well. Oh, what did I press then? Fuck. I pressed a button and it's opened up Elgato Stream Deck. No, whoops, wrong button on the Stream Deck. Get rid of the mainframe and open up the Impact. Update. No, I've already updated it, haven't I? Okay, it's waiting for its resources. Bring back the mainframe. What do you all think? I mean, it's Nonite's time, really, isn't it? That's what you all think. That's what you all think. You nutters. And people, tell you what, people think I'm doing this for money. Like, if I was I've got to get this off my chest to do just U34 like Alan does. But they think I'm doing this. If I wanted to do this for money, I'd have done that. I'd have said, that's great content for the main channel. I'll do a stream live, and then I'll do all this live, and people will give me tippies. So I'm definitely not doing that just for the cash, am I? No, I'm doing that for the fucking what the fuck. Nottingham Poker Tournament is 50. Well, there you go, Trisha. I think Trisha is... there you go. That sounds much more like it, yes. I'd say yes to that, because it doesn't involve going abroad. It is a way of trying to get some more money. It'll be smaller stakes, smaller costs. Where's Nottingham? Could he stay at Bam Bam's house? I don't know. Like, I don't know if he's got a place to stay at around Nottingham, like a friend. The poker tour people, though, you know, the friends of friends around the poker tour. Rather than getting a hotel, because he'll feel safer. Yeah, it's that, isn't it? It's the Nottingham Poker Tour. That I think is a really good shout. I think is and I don't think they will have the extensive coverage as well. Look. I'm even finding it difficult to find, you know, their own web page. Like, they're not going to have all photographs like they did from that other thing. But it's only in Nottingham. I can't, you know, I'm not doing this now. My brain's not going to want to look at all these numbers and pictures on the internet. But Nottingham Poker Tour 50, yeah, like. Yeah, I'm not that far from there, yeah. I might even enter myself. I can't be fucked to do that. I've got a poorly doggist, but like, maybe one of our, you know, Mimp Squad or viewers might want to go up the Nottingham Poker thing and have a look. Like, I don't know. I can't even be asked to confirm he's there or anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't be asked with it. I just think he's probably doing that. It would really, like, because we, like I said, it would amp up the gambling. That like, he would want to keep, like, pushing that button, like, so to speak. And it's a huge mistake again at this time. And it fits the pattern. Yeah, he's Nottingham. And it's really good intuition from Trisha there again. Like, magic or no, that's a little bit of magic, because I think, yeah, Nottingham. He's done it before. He's gone to Blackpool before as well. And he said he needed to find, because he almost gave an excuse as to why he wasn't going to be there. I need to find a way of getting some money and all this stuff with the authorities. That's the excuses he used while he was away in Malta. You know, it's all about the police this, the police that. So working with the authorities is what he is, you know, in his brain, he says working with the authorities and he thinks playing poker with my mates. That's what it is. He's live on that website. Tonight, my brain's not going to do that. Like, and they're not playing live right now, are they? So, like, but if other people want to look at that and put it in front of me for tomorrow, then I'll look at it. But I don't want to. I have no more brain power for this bollocks, and certainly none that involves numbers and pictures and cards and shit. Going through lists to look for Alan Vinnicombe. Something I didn't say during the react, and I suppose I could keep saying, couldn't I? This might end up on it as well. I don't know. Mate, what did I react to today? I still have to cut it, don't I? Because we reacted to that strange thing in the middle. Yeah, big ups. Another thing I didn't say was all in Vin. You know when I was saying it's time to step away from the table? Yeah? All in Vin. Like, Alan is not going to step away from the table at that moment. I got a bit preoccupied back then when I was saying this, and I forgot to say this. Alan is not going to step away from the table. Alan's going to go all in. whatever that means allegorically or whatever that means. Like, and this is that sort of thing. At this moment, those women he's come back from holidays, he's come back basically destitute. He said, we're all right for this month, but next month is shit again. And those women are in the PayPal. He said, thanks for the PayPals. You know, he's grifted off them. And he's going to take that seed money, he said. You know, we need this seed money, didn't he? That's what he literally said, you know, a new seed, grow my brand, seed. He used the word seed, which in poker terms, seed money is like, give me some money to gamble with and I will come back with more money and then you can have your money back. But he doesn't want to give them their money back. But yeah, it's this all-in aspect of, at a low ebb when things are difficult and bad, you think it's a good idea to go and gamble everything. And this is the place where you can gamble the most, baby, and get the most. Like, it's no point in just gambling it all on the internet poker, is it? Like, go to the tournament, sit down with the people, play the cards. He gets the break. He gets the mental. Like, he's in that bubble again. Like, when you're in the casino and like no one can hurt you because you're in the bubble and you're a poker player again. Like, mental break. He needs in himself that physical break, the mental break, and the hope for the money. And for Alan, Nottingham's not going to go well. He's not going to win the big table. Like, he thinks, because I did that in, you know, I went out to Malta and I played with the Malta people and I got to win the big table. That means I'm better than the people in Nottingham, so I should shit this. That's not going to happen. What's going to happen is that the people in Nottingham play more regularly, couldn't afford to go to Malta, but, you know, aren't just pissing their money away on holidays. They've got more in the stakes, if you know what I mean. And he's going to get rinsed by someone who he thinks is probably a younger person who didn't make it to Malta this year because they haven't made that money yet, but is on the sharp and knows what they're doing and sees Alan as a bit of a mark, and he's going to go all in on some, and he's going to have it in his head like, oh, fuck this person. Like, this is how Alan loses his money in poker as well, is he probably thinks this person's an idiot or this person's an arsehole. I'm going to go, some young Muslim lad, I'll go all in with you, you fucker. And then he's just going to lose to some young Muslim lad in Nottingham. And then all the money's gone again. But increasingly in smaller and more pathetic ways, until you're just down to the fucking £2.50 in the Gambler and a bottle of White Lightning. It's pitiful, isn't it? It's kind of pathetic, but I can see it happening. It's like the reverse of a success, isn't it? It's a failure, like a consistent failing to the point where you end up off the bottom of, like you said about life's a conveyor belt and then it pushes you off. If you haven't got any money and you haven't got any, like, you know, you're not doing anything about it or whatever, it can be a bit like that, in that you might end up homeless, mightn't you, Alan? And then, like, you know, off the end of the conveyor belt, so to speak. Interesting. Good night, all you nutters. I'm still waiting for Genshin Impact. It's now verifying resources. It's at 40%. And I want to play some Genshin Impact, so I'm not going to bed yet. But the dog's ready, I'm ready, everyone's ready for bed, no nights. And I went on talked about Alan for too long again.